right, you ready?
Sure.
Yep.
Sure.
Been ready since 6 o'clock.
I'm sorry.
Actually,
Running late
since 5
today, I
minutes,
don't know how.
It's almost 7
I thought I'd see
o'clock
you here at
already.
So let's start on, let's start right on the general appropriations, town board. Be the first at the very top of town, budget appropriations. So,
What page are you on?
the general appropriation should be the first
Page.
page.
Like the third
Right
page.
there.
Says,
Well, that's the third page.
Oh,
says page 4, but
Actually,
it's
it says
page
4.
3.
all right, there you go. That one there.
I copied not any better, so.
Oh, the first page says page 2, so I guess it's correct.
Hey, actually, page 4.
Yeah,
It used to be page 1.
it says page 4. See it, Bone?
Yes.
All right, so we have $10,000 for the salaries in there, which is $2,500 a piece. Now, this is something, you know, I was gonna talk about, everybody is putting in for raises this year. Judges, court clerk, everybody basically wants a raise. So I don't have a problem with looking at that and putting that in, we can discuss that. But with the town board, I don't know if we wanna talk about, if we're gonna give everybody like maybe $100 raise, maybe we wanna put a $100 raise in for the town board. Make it even across the board. This would be the time to
I'm fine
do
with
it.
it.
This year we have plenty of funds, doesn't mean it's gonna always be like that, but you know, we've been doing very well the last few years with sales tax. And, you know, we haven't bumped up the salary for town board in forever, so it's been a while. So it went down one time and
Yeah,
went back up.
the year
You
that I
came in, I
got,
think,
the year
was
that
over.
I got on was the year that it was reduced.
Yeah.
And I remember, because Chris Nolan was a big proponent of reducing it, because that's when you were getting in trouble.
Well, we had some hard
with
times, we had
taxes.
some really, you know, tough times with it.
And I remember saying to Chris, "As you're trying to get salaries reduced because you know I'm gonna win and you're not."
So I don't know if everyone's considering, I mean, I figure it's $100 a person, so we bump it up $400. I mean, it's not gonna be a lot.
It's
I
not
think
going to be
that's fine.
noticed.
If anybody has a problem with that, let's discuss it. If not, then we can put it in and see where we end up and talk about it.
That's
But,
fine.
I mean, unless you want more. But I was just figuring something we could do across the board.
I mean, in general, like given inflation, all of these salaries are technically going down. So I think it's reasonable to do that. I don't, $100 is fine, but based on
It,
what
I
I
mean,
know, I mean, I don't know if we want to like have something, I mean, I always look at it as, okay, this is per meeting or something of that nature, but I think it could probably be more than that too, and I'll put that in mind. I don't know.
I mean, we are comparable. I mean, most of the salaries across town boards are right around $2,500. Some are a little bit more, some a little less.
In Columbia County.
In Columbia County. I mean, I didn't check a lot of them, but I mean, some of the surrounding towns, some are 28, 26. You know, so I mean, we could easily go up a little bit more, but I threw in $100. I don't know if you want to think about more. That's fine.
I'm impartial, so
We need to go anymore.
I'm fine with whatever everyone else wants.
So why don't we leave the $100 for now? We'll see what happens. So let's bump that to $10,400.
I also would be in favor, I feel like Chris is doing a lot of work on the website and just on the technical side of things. I mean, I know we all put in additional hours, but it's like a lot of responsibility that you're taking on specifically with this. So
It takes time.
yeah, I would be fine at some point also just to
Maybe
like our
something more
webmaster.
specific to the, I was going to say maybe.
It's not even on the town board line. It's just like if you're doing that. Like,
Right.
it's
There
We
used
did-
to
We did
be-
have something at one time for the web.
It was like
Well, the problem is
$150.
you can't have an elected salary and pay also separate. There's something to do with that. So that's why we took the web salary out when everyone was doing it, because we couldn't pay a board member in addition to.
That's fine.
You could say your wife is doing webmaster, we could pay her, and then, you know, whatever, that's fine. But I don't think we can give you an elected salary and a 24 salary.
I know you can't receive a salary if you're elected and appointed.
Yeah, I'd have to look to see if we were able to do additional compensation. Something to do with it. You're not allowed to do that, I don't think.
Okay.
So-
Well, if there's a means to do it, or you're like consultant and this is a thing that, is outside of your board responsibilities, I don't know.
I appreciate it, but
I would support that as well, because I know you're spending a lot of time between, just with posting meetings and all that, plus this.
it interferes sometimes with the board stuff when I'm trying to do research. So I recognize I do spend a lot of time.
Yeah,
on it, but,
yeah.
Well, we can see where we can add something like that in, as like I said, and maybe put it in your way if it doesn't, which is fine. I don't know. I don't think we can pay 0.4 and a salary. I'd have to check that.
But,
How-
Contractual. You can't do contractual on elected salaries.
oh, I see.
How is the Dawn with the
historian?
Yeah.
That
the historian.
because that's an
She donated it back,
appointed, that's an
too.
appointed
Okay.
position, I don't take that. And it was $150.
Oh, I see. So it's the same thing where
Right,
you
right.
just
But
don't.
I don't
yeah.
know if you're actually appointed. I mean, do we
I
actually
have to
appoint
look
him
at it.
as the web?
Maybe you can submit a voucher, as long as it goes through the vouchers like anything else. If you put a voucher in, I'll have to check that. We could throw something in the budget. We can check.
Again,
I just think it'd be
I
a good
appreciate
idea to
it, but, yeah,
recognize
I'm-
like how many hours and, just so the town is like, okay, this is, if at some point you don't want to do this anymore, like, we know that
Right.
we need to have some sort of, this is where the budget is now, and we may need to grow that, or.
Right, because we're very fortunate that you have this talent and skill. The next, if you decide not to run, the next person may not. I mean, it's probably more likely than not that they won't, and then we will incur an expense.
yeah.
All right, we'll find a spot to put that
I think this.
later on.
I'm thinking about our last meeting. The calendar that we're talking about is probably going to take time.
Ellen offered to do that, by the way.
Oh, did she?
As volunteer.
She'd
So
be a
maybe
huge
we-
help.
Take it up on her. Take it
Yeah.
up. Take it up.
Well, yeah,
No,
or we bring her on as an actual consultant to the town to
That-
like take on some of the.
Yep, if she-
other options.
There's some of
As
that
that
stuff
time,
out there
yeah.
you have to deal with on, some of that we can.
Right. No, Ellen definitely knows far more than I do on WordPress. It's just not I'm much more deeper into the coding. And WordPress is intended to be easier, but I don't.
You haven't used it.
Right.
Right, well, and it's hard when you're learning on the go.
Yep.
Do we want to put something in there just as a placeholder?
Well, we'll find a spot down, somewhere in here, we'll put it in the budget. We'll find a spot to add that in. We won't do it on our town board. So under town board, we'll just have the contractual, I wanna leave the $500, that's in case we have any schooling or any expenses for anybody. So that would bring the total for that to be $10,900 with that formula increase. The justice.
Oh, hold on. What line was that? Oh, I see. You're over on the right-hand side. Okay. So it's 10-9 now.
10-9, yeah. The justice, I just got the request tonight. They did put in for a request to go to $12,000, which would be an $800 increase, which would be $400 per judge. I don't think we've ever given them that kind of raise before. I think they've always asked, and we've always done a little something for them. So
Has anything changed that they're spending more time?
I don't really think so.
I think we're. Let me just mention something that Albany Med is trying to do right now. Of course, I'm excluded from it. They're trying to take a temporary pay increase. I forget what they called it, but because employment rates are so low, nobody's working, and retention is very poor.
Mm-hmm.
What they're trying to do is they're doing like it's a flat rate payment based on levels. They have 2 tiers, and the hourly, I guess they're both hourly people, but they're 2 different tiers. What they're doing is every paychecks go out every 2 weeks, so it's every 2-week period. The lower pay grade gets an extra $200 in their paycheck. The upper tier gets another $250 per paycheck. That's only temporary until they say, we're going to stop doing this. So it's not actually built into their salary, so I don't know how the accounting works for that. But I do know there are many companies, corporations, etc., that are very much in need of employment, and it's just not there. So in an effort to
Yeah, to retain
retain
employees.
employees,
Makes
they're
sense.
doing a temporary pay increase. I don't know if that's something
Well, we
that
only
we
have-
want to consider.
we only
I don't
have
know
two
if we can.
employees. Everybody else is elected, so, I mean, it's a little bit different with elected salaries also. So, I mean, highway guys are really the only two salary people we have
Okay,
that we should maybe consider doing a little something extra, which I actually had in here when we get to it.
Okay.
But, as far as elected positions, you know, we all know what that is when they get elected. So, you know, I'm not really keen on giving them the $12,000, you know, the
Yeah.
increase they're looking for. Again, I was thinking we would bump everybody $100, you know, and maybe call that even across the board.
yeah, I just thought I'd mention that because I had not heard of something like that being done in the past, and I just
you know,
thought
the
if
two
there's.
judges we have, one judge does a lot more than the other, and you can't separate the salaries, but it's not really fair that the one does 90% of the work and the other one comes in for 1 hour a month.
Yeah,
So, you know, it's tough. So,
It probably wouldn't work if you probably said, well, just throwing it out, brainstorming this, could we give a base salary and then an amount for any time they're on the bench?
I don't know how you get into that with the elected position. I don't think we want to open that can of worms. I really don't.
I figured it's six.
So, I mean, I put in $100 each, so it'd be $200, so each judge would have a $100 raise. Is what I put in when I did this originally. If you
Yep.
guys want to do something different, we'll talk about it.
We've never given them much more than $100 in the past.
No, no, we haven't. So, I mean, I think, you know, it's not a ton of work that they do. I mean, they got the fair share. Don't get me wrong, but
yep.
I
Did they
think-
give you any kind of justification?
No. Nope.
Well, I suspect it, in the times that we're in now, everybody, like you said, everybody put in for a raise.
Yeah,
So,
and, you know,
it's,
there's no reason not to. I mean, you can't get it if you don't ask for it. You know, so I
Yeah.
mean, they're probably hoping to get something, and they put in, you know, a number they felt
yep.
was fair.
Did they do that together, or did one of them do it?
I think one of them fills it. I'm not sure. So I put
Fill that
11-4.
out. Lee talked to them. Yeah, and that's
Lee does it.
what they came up with.
So I put in 11-4. So that'd be $100 each, Judge. So, I mean, as
Yeah.
far as I'm concerned, going forward. The clerk also has an increase down here from 4,500 to 5,000, which would be a $500 increase. Again, I just figured a $100 increase to be fair. If we're going to try and make it somewhat fair, I thought it would be fair just to bump $100 to 4,600 instead of 4,500.
Where are we now?
The clerk, the judges, they're still under justice.
Oh, Judge.
Yes, the justice went
1110.11.
Okay.
And then the clerk, I figured 4,600. That would be a $100 increase. The equipment line I left at 500, and the contractual at 2,500, which is what they filled out as well. So that would bring your total line up to 19,000. Supervisor, again, trying to stay consistent. I put a $100 raise back in to bring the salary to 5,600. Which, by the way, is exactly what the salary was when I started 14 years ago. Because I actually took away the budget officer, and then put it back, took it away. So it was 5,600 when I started. So that brings me back to where I was 14 years ago. So that would increase to 4,600 or 5,600. Because it was the salary was what was it? 5,000. It was 5,000, and it was 600 for budget officer. So it's 5,600. So then I took it away, and I put, so this brings it back to 5,600.
And you're comfortable with that? I mean, I just feel like it's unfair that, like, percentage-wise, our raise is technically greater than yours. I'd rather do like an across the board.
Well, that's the problem with
Percentage.
the amounts we have. A percentage is tough,
Round it up a little,
If we did a
direction.
percent, right? Like
Yeah,
Do
I
a
mean,
solid
like
percent.
$100 doesn't seem out of, I don't know. Anyways,
No, I know what you're saying.
or like it's
Yeah.
3% or something of that nature. So
Trouble is 3% on the town board would equal next to nothing, and nobody would be happy with that. So we'd have to go, higher. And it's hard to do a solid percentage across the board. I'm happy. I'm not fine with that. 5,600 is fine. We all know what we do is a donation.
Yeah.
So, It's
or whatever, $100 is at the,
It's fine. I do have under contractual, the bookkeeper did ask for an increase this year. He gave it to me in writing. Speaking to him, he's like, I'd like to get some extra money. If you guys could add $1,000 to my salary. I says, calm down now, relax.
Who's
so
this?
Brian, the bookkeeper. So that is the only one that I did consider, since it is a professional service, a $500 increase, because he is doing it for $9,600 a year, which is pretty low compared to every place else that I've checked. And, I haven't done it in a few years, but last time I checked, the closest place I could get was the company in Hudson. They were like $14,000, and they wouldn't even deliver the checks and do a lot of stuff he's doing.
Yeah,
So
I remember
we are getting a very good price bargain with using him, and he does. I'm comfortable with what he does. I think he does a good job. So I did put in $500 for him, which would bring that up to $10,600. The extra $500 is money I leave in the contractual in case I need any kind of schooling or need to go, any point four expenditures, which I hardly ever use. I don't think I've ever used it, but I leave that in there just in case, just like we leave for the town board. So his salary would be $10,100, and the extra $500 would be the contractual for the supervisor. So altogether, that brings that line to $16,200. Tax collector did not receive another budget form from her.
How-
She hasn't been feeling well.
I was just gonna ask how she is.
2 years ago, well, last year, she actually asked for an increase. We did bump her, I believe, a little bit, $100, but she has to be up to $4,800 last year. Right now, she's currently at $4,600. So, again, trying to stay consistent, I figured we'd do another $100, just like we're doing with everybody else, which would bring up to $4,700. So, unless anybody has an issue with that, I think it's fair, consistent. So if we bump that to $4,700, her contractual and equipment line would stay the same. So her total line for that tax collection would be $7,500. Go up $100. Next is the assessor. The assessor also put in for an increase. Her increase, figure that out what it was. Tax collector put in for, or excuse me, the assessor put in for an increase of $305. Don't ask me how she came up with that number. Maybe she used the percentage. So I didn't have a chance to talk to her about this because when she gave me the form, she left it in a box. So I didn't get a chance to ask her what she thought the increase would be for, other than maybe she's just putting in a percentage across the board because she does multiple towns. This is one that, again, we haven't given a raise in several years. So I'm not necessarily stuck to saying, okay, we'll only do $100 on her. Since her job has gotten, obviously, a little more difficult. She's doing a lot more with the, with the assessments and stuff. So I don't have a problem with $300 increase.
just 2%.
Yeah, is that what it is? So she put 2%, so she's a percentage. So I don't have a problem with bumping her to $15,575, unless anybody else wants to talk about it. She did reduce her, she didn't ask for equipment, but I always leave $100 in there just in case she needs something, printing, ink, whatever. Her contractual, she did reduce down to $1,000 from $1,500, so her actual line item drops to $16,675 total.
That contractual we put in there last year, or the year before, for the added.
We always do
Assessments,
contractual
I should
because she has, she has expenses. She has a phone line, she has printing, she has stamps, all that stuff comes out of there. So
Oh,
that's,
okay.
that's what she uses that line for.
Okay, so that's not the same as what we did before.
No, when we did the data collection, we did a
Yes.
separate line item. We paid her separately for that because that
Okay.
was a whole different job.
Okay.
So that's not in there, no. Town clerk. Town clerk. Town clerk didn't give me anything. The clerk gave me the budget request. did not ask for an increase, which is very nice of her, but being consistent, I said $100 increase, I think would match everybody else's. So I put in $7,100 for the clerk's salary. The deputy position, I left alone at $900 in case needed, obviously. The equipment line, $500, just keeps the same, and the contractual, about $50 to $2,900.
As
So,
far as the deputy, I believe we're paying the deputy minimum wage. And it's that, I think that job deserves more than minimum wage. Although minimum wage.
we
I
have
don't-
to
'cause
specify.
Minimum wage, I think, is like, I think we said in the,
12, was it 12.50?
in the organizational meeting, I think we say that it's minimum wage.
In all honesty, my daughter works at Dunkin' Donuts and makes almost $16 an hour, so $12.75 an hour is not
Nothing.
somebody that's gonna wanna come in and be
Responsible,
dedicated to it.
even if we did 15.
Well, we'd have to specify that, yeah, we could leave it in the budget and then just
Yeah.
specify and change the
Right,
actual
right.
salary.
I was gonna say the budget itself could remain the same, but we'd have to.
But I don't-
Even like with the highway, we pay part-time help, was it $13 an hour, Tyler? Something like that?
Yes, yep.
Which is, just over minimum wage, so.
Well, we have to, I don't know what the hours are that we might need to adjust that contraction, that amount. I know
Well,
we-
it's as needed, we haven't, we only do it on a voucher system, right, the deputy?
I know when Lee's come down here as a deputy, he hasn't even put in a voucher, in all honesty. My mother hasn't. I think she's done one this year that she's put in for, so I don't foresee, at least under me, that there'll be as much need for it.
Why don't we bump it $100, we haven't used it a lot, but why don't we throw an extra $100 in there and,
Call it an
we'll
even
change
thousand.
it. Yeah, we'll call it even 1,000, then we'll change it, the rate of pay. Equipment 500 and the contractual 2,900, so that brings the total for the clerk up to 11,500. The attorney, again, I left that alone because I think we're doing all right with our professional services. Our attorney hasn't charged us anything because everything they do has been, we haven't had it for town board matters, and everything they do through the planning board is charged to the customer. So I always leave money in there in case, we have something that comes up, we may need involved, we get to doing some road work and some other stuff, we may need some legal advice, but I think $4,000 should cover us, so be very close. I'd like to leave that the same.
Have we heard anything about the Red Wing situation?
I received a call today, as a matter of fact, from one of our constituents that was worried about what was going on over there. He's supposed to be sending a letter to the town board saying that they are still operating there. I guess they're applying for different permits now. I haven't had the total update, so I don't know for sure. But I guess they're trying to continue working out of there. They're taking the processing out of their application, and they want to, they're rewording it, trying to stay open is what they're doing. So I don't have the details yet, but I'll probably have an update by the next meeting.
That would be helpful. Dee Dee Barrett's, one of her staffers contacted me because a constituent had contacted her and
Probably the
said,
same
you need
one.
to talk to the town, Mylan.
I know he's been in contact with Town of Livingston and Milan both, so I said, well, send us the letter and we'll certainly look into it.
Because they're also supposed to be doing sort of like remediation or something on the site as well, which maybe is not happening on schedule.
I think they only have 8 acres left or something that they can actually touch, that they can do anything with, and the rest of it has to be remediated or left,
Turned into a park,
turned
right.
over. And they're trying to, I guess they're trying to pull a few last minute attempts to stay open, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
How much have we spent on the attorney to pay?
Nothing. Nothing in our
How
budget.
can be nothing? I see bills from them, I sign vouchers all the time.
Yeah, but they don't go on our line.
They don't get charged to our town, they get charged to the planning board or the zoning board.
Some of it does, but not all of it.
Nothing's been paid out of our town line.
I'm not sure I remember the town using the attorney.
Unless it was just the last meeting that came out, which I didn't have, this is only August.
We did a call with him on the parks.
Oh, right.
Which
Oh,
way they got
there's
charged
been-
the parks. If it's the parks.
I mean, the bill comes all together.
Right, we break it
And-
down.
And Tracy breaks it out, but there's been some in general and some in the trust and agency, so we've been paying that money. I don't know.
The trust and agency is usually through the planning.
Trust
board.
agency would be totally separate, that would come
Yeah.
out of here. If it's only town board meeting matters, would come out of here, so I'd have to look, but I'll have to see if we have some code wrong, but nothing's been coded to the attorney line in the town board yet. So needless to say, I think $4,000 is still fine.
Because they charge us when they come to the planning board meeting.
That's for the planning board,
Okay.
that comes out of the planning board.
Uh,
Yeah, that stays under their line item,
yeah.
which you'll see. now.
There's been some, I mean, you've had calls with Andy that on top board matters.
Yeah, but most of the stuff I've had, he has the charges for it, obviously, so, it's been very little. This year's been quiet for us. So. Don't
You
push
referring
it.
to?
No, I
Don't push it.
I just-
Are you
I
referring
know
to
that it
your-
hasn't all
your
gone to
discussions,
trust
Bob?
and agency. That's, but no, I wasn't thinking of.
Yeah, planning, zoning, all that are separate too,
Yeah,
so.
it's separate lines, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So I think $4,000 is fine for that. Engineer, in the engineer line, I did bump that up just because I think, especially if we go with, we have some issues with the road, if we're talking about doing something with the road, we're gonna have them involved this year, which should be in their quote, but I still put an extra $2,000, I think, just to give us a cushion of $4,000 for the engineer.
Okay.
As of right now, they haven't charged us anything either. That's been charged to the planning board for all the other work. We haven't any town issues with them. But I'd like to have a little extra money in there just in case.
So the all that lab work and everything that gets done on the park every year goes to park?
That would go to brownfields.
Okay.
Brownfields line, it's a separate
Okay.
line, yeah.
Yeah, as far as engineer, planning board, unless he's changed recently, but George never charged anything for the, coming to the meeting, unless there was something that he did that was related to trust and agency. But he doesn't,
He hasn't
the
charged.
attorney charges out for the hours that they spend here, but George never did.
Elections, I left the $200. We have $200 in there for .4, so we could get some reimbursements from food. I leave that in there. Gives them something if they want to, something. Board of Ethics, .4 again, contractual. There's a couple $100 in there in case something comes up with a stenographer or somebody to take notes. I think they've requested that before, but we have a couple $100 to cover anything they would need. Buildings, $1,800. This is the cleaner, professional services. That's the one I didn't know about increasing because we did bump that up $150 last year. Because we thought she was underpaid when we got the new cleaner in, she was doing more, blah, blah, blah. So we did give her, a fairly decent raise last year. Again, I don't know if we want to, being trying to be consistent, we want to bump it up again, the $100, another $100.
How is she, remind me how she's paid? Is it by the job?
It's by monthly. She gets a monthly payroll check. So she's paid. She comes in, cleans, does the garbage, blah, blah, blah. There's no set hours, but, she has been doing a decent job. Every time I come in, it's cleans, wiped down, vacuumed, so garbage is empty. So she's on top of it. She cleaned up the mess we had in there with the bees, so she does a good job. So
I have no problem giving her.
I don't have a problem bumping that up if we're gonna try and be consistent with $100 more and then say, we did the same thing for, basically everybody. All right, so I didn't put that in, but I will, 1,900. Equipment, I leave $200 in there just in case something happens. She needs a vacuum brakes or, needs something kind of equipment to buy. I don't know. I just like to leave a couple $100 just so we can push in case something comes up.
We just got a new vacuum, right?
That was a few
Last
years
year?
back.
Was it?
A couple
Okay.
years ago, but, just in case, it breaks a duster or a mop or something, whatever. At least it's something that
Yep.
she has on a line item. Contractual,
Does she clean at the community house too?
No, just the point, just the.
Just here.
For the most part, the church cleans over there. And I think if we have from time to time hired somebody to clean over there.
We do, yeah, we have.
Or the church, right?
But has anyone cleaned the church since the
Probably
last time
not.
we were in there?
No, I was probably the last one in there.
We should,
We usually do that
Ask.
only on events where something's going on, yeah.
or just once a year or something like that. I don't know. There's like road droppings and it was unpleasant.
Used to be bees all the
Yeah,
time.
the last time I was
birds.
in there, no bees.
No bees. They
No.
finally left.
I don't know where they went, but
They
there
moved
was.
in here.
They were not, yeah.
No, they weren't honeybees.
Gets cleaned when there's an event going on. Pay somebody.
Yeah, because it's got to be cleaned probably prior to any event, even if we did it once a year. It's
Mhm.
probably needs to be cleaned.
Okay, and
I just thought
more,
maybe we should budget
Just
just
do
to
a
have
one
it,
good clean.
or just assume it'll be cleaned before the
Right.
annual
And
Christmas
more-
event and afterwards or something, just because it wasn't cleaned after the last one.
Right.
And
and actually,
should.
yeah, that it was never cleaned after Christmas when I went in there, which I think was just a mistake because
Yeah,
they're always
just-
good about that. But usually we have a wedding or two during the year, so that happens that it gets cleaned for that. And then, it's,
And that comes out of the fee that they pay to use the church.
I don't,
We could put that in the
I'm not
building
quite sure or
line
not.
as far as contractual. Just add it in there and then, we'll just make a note that we're going to budget whatever we need, $300, $400.
Yeah, something like that,
Like
yeah.
an extra cleaning or two, maybe.
Why don't we put
we'll probably
$500
have
in
this
there
year,
for a
but-
cleaning budget? We'll add that into our buildings.
How often does someone just go in the building and check it?
That's a good question.
Not
Not that often.
Yeah.
Not that often.
I just,
I mean, over there is not so crucial, there's no plumbing to deal with,
Okay.
so we don't have to worry about pipes breaking and stuff like that.
okay,
So, but,
And
obviously.
the electric is usually
They're,
turned off at
they're in
the
here every
box.
week.
Okay.
So they're not every week, so.
yeah.
Yeah,
Just
They-
curious
They
that
have
there's
somebody
nothing
clean the upstairs. I don't know if they do much
Bad
with the
happening
downstairs.
over there that we don't know about.
Use that for the most part.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what they do. I'm
I
not
know,
sure.
I know they actually pay one of their members to do cleaning.
Alright, so why don't we throw $500 in for cleaning budget, extra cleaning budget? So the contractual amount, we carried from last year, $6,000. What did we spend that? This year we spent, so far we spent $3,700. And we pay, what do we pay? We pay almost the electric bill? No, the electric's bill separate out of that. 2.4 buildings? I can't remember what we paid.
It's out of there.
Well, the $6,000 looks like it's sufficient. We spent from,
Yeah.
3,600 this year. We still got 4 months to go. I'd like to leave that, but let's add another $500 for the cleaning.
You still want to add more?
I think so.
I mean, based on what you have, I would almost think it's sufficient as is.
I'm just trying to think, we're gonna figure out what else comes out.
Well, in the past, we spent a lot more on that line. Or at least we budgeted.
Well, I think we've used that for all the contractual, so any work we've done, like if we fixed
Right.
buildings and stuff, we put it in there, projects we put in there.
Right.
So that's kind of hard to track
Right.
the projects
Okay.
that way. But this is something we use. What's that?
Does it show what was on there last month, what came out last month?
$329.55.
That sounds like the electric.
No, there is a line for electric.
I
2,200
don't
for
know.
electric.
Code out of that.
No, there's a specific line for electric, yeah. You're right, 2,200.
I mean, we can leave the 6,000. It's probably will cover it.
It just sounds like it's
Certainly.
already sufficient to what we've spent and what we're talking about bumping it for. So it just sounds like it's already there.
Is there any work that needs to be done over there? I know the kitchen is always hanging out there.
I'm not aware of it, but I haven't been in there in months. I can tell you.
The only thing I can think of, and I don't know if any, I remember we spoke about it, but whether or not it's been done, is running a cable for Wi-Fi.
No.
Oh, that hasn't happened yet?
No.
We've got a
we the
conduit
conduit
in,
there,
but no
it hasn't been
cable.
run through.
So is that something that we want to consider for
The
that?
cost of the cable, I believe, the telephone company will provide. It's just, if we do the work, it really is minimal expense. They may
Okay.
charge us a hookup fee, I don't know, for them to hook it up. But, again, that would come out of that line, any building work, any work we do
Okay.
on buildings.
Phone.
Because you were thinking
Phone?
we would just kind of do it
Oh,
all,
I think
run a
so, yeah.
cable.
That was my intention,
Because
but
otherwise they'll charge us.
Because it doesn't have
Yeah.
a line on here, so it's gotta
So
be.
that's a phone line charge.
is that, I don't recall back then, but Lindsay made a good point. If they come and run the line and put a router over there, we'll have a monthly added fee for the router, correct? Unless we buy our own router, run our own cable, we extend it without any additional monthly fees.
Do it yourself.
Yeah. It's just a.
Yeah,
it's,
we're using their
the-
equipment.
The only thing I can
Charges.
say is it's just a Cat5 that extends over. We
Yeah.
buy a router for the Wi-Fi portion. Just plug it in over here, and we extend.
Okay.
So
So there's
it's-
really no cost to us then,
It's just running a cable.
just the router.
I can hook I've got all the equipment to put to crimp the ends on the cable, but I don't have the cable.
We might have the cable.
Maybe we could talk somebody into doing that for
Big
us.
school of
Do we really?
Yeah, I hear
The
ya.
Cat5? Oh, okay. There's got to be probably a couple hundred feet, right, to go from here.
I'll
Yeah,
I
well,
remember when we first talked
I got-
about
We
that,
do a lot
I
of
think
stuff.
I thought we were expecting to pay a fee for that.
Well, only if we hook up. Remember, if we ran from a pole in, they charge us a whole separate service.
Yeah.
And if we ran another one over, like I said, to a router, then they charge us a monthly something small. But if we do it, like I said, if we do it ourselves, I think we pay a thing.
You buy the-
They
I
don't
mean-
know a thing.
It's, I think their monthly fee would be for their router, because they provide the router.
Right.
So we would bypass it by just purchasing our own.
T-Tel has multiple hotspots.
Like
One of them's right over
around
the
here
ball
for
field.
us?
That we have one here?
One of them's
Well,
at the ball field there.
The reason this came up is because the church was asking for Wi-Fi.
Well, I was wondering if maybe we can ask them to put a hotspot here.
I think it's a
But we
good
already have
idea.
one.
Although we did one under.
What's this hotspot then?
So they have community hotspots, but I thought they had one over there because they have some box or some like.
By the scoreboard,
Mm-hmm.
because they supply the power for that too.
But it's just like a
Scoreboard.
community service.
Right.
I'm not sure.
Well, I was hoping maybe, if they didn't have one over here. I didn't know they had one. And it really did come in handy for, with COVID, with the kids.
People use it all the time. When I walk by there are people just park to use the hotspot.
All right. Why don't we? Well, that'll be a very minimal cost to us then, at least.
Yeah.
So why don't we bump
Either
it-
way, I don't
why
know that
we
we
bump the
really.
buildings lines up $1,000 because the only other thing I want to make sure we have money for is to build a landing for the back door. It's been talked about for a long time. We're supposed to build it for them, but I'm gonna throw extra $1,000 in to cover any expenses we have for that and
Okay.
the wire.
Yeah, otherwise Sam's gonna write us a ticket.
He's gonna cite
what I was
us.
going to say.
Which line is this?
That's a little.
That's
embarrassing.
the contractual point.
It's a little embarrassing for him.
From 6,000 to
Right
7,000.
out his door. Yeah.
The 7,000.
Yeah. Next line is the contractual for the oil. That we're doing pretty well on. We had a pretty mild winter the start this year. Who knows how we're gonna end up? I think
So we're locked in for.
we're locked into the price. We locked that in at
239?
Where does
I
that
got-
place us based
I got
on
some-
our normal
Senior
usage?
I did. I'll have to look it up. I have it somewhere.
I think we were like $1.89 or $1.99 last year.
We were 10 cents more than last year, so I think we're like $1.89. I think last year we got $1.69.
I don't remember that.
So
The
we're
prices
well
are
under
going
$2.
up,
Yeah, the
so
price is
we
going up. We're
did
locked
well.
in low, so we have plenty of money budgeted. I don't know if we want to take any money out of that line because if we have a real hard winter, we'll probably use more fuel. I think we leave the $6,000. I'd be more comfortable leaving that. If we have extra, it just goes in our fund balance.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
So,
leave it, because you're probably gonna have more income planned, because sales tax has been going up there, and so you wanna balance that off too.
yep.
And if we don't use it, then this goes into the fund.
All right, so we'll leave that alone. The electric line, again, I'd like to leave that alone. Last year we used $1,529, $1,600.
Electricity has just gone up.
It's went up a little bit, but we still have a cushion of like $400, $500, so I think that's fine. I think they leave $200 alone. It should be, it'll cover what we have. So the total for buildings would be $17,300. Central Communications, I left that alone, $4,600. We do have $2,800 still available.
What gets
I'm
charged?
sorry, $1,700 still
What
available.
gets charged there?
That is, Central Communications is the phones
And that is
for the town hall.
and fax
Fax.
and
Okay.
community house.
Yeah, I think everything but the highway
Okay.
gets charged out of there. So every year we're around $4,300. We got a couple $100 cushion. I think $4,600 is fine, even if it went up a little bit. So we'll leave that alone. Central printing and mailing, $600.
I got a question. Where does the website get charged? Is that part of that as well? Central Communications.
Like a hosting service?
Excuse me?
A hosting service?
Yeah,
I never see a bill for that.
I don't either.
No.
That's why I'm curious where that
We don't
line
get
item
charged.
comes out.
Where is it hosted?
GTEL has it.
I
Might be
think they
on,
provide that for nothing.
might be on the bill, the phone bill. but-
Or it's
I've never
on
seen a
the
bill
phone,
for
but we
it.
never got billed for it.
Okay. The reason, I guess there's another reason I bring it up is because we have, we currently use a plugin that we have a free version of, and we're multiple versions behind, but in order to upgrade, there's a fee. I think it's like $40 a year or something like that for a licensing fee.
Oh, we can't afford it.
It's just one of those things we just never moved forward with because it was
Yeah.
free, but with all the website updates that continue to come in, and that being the only plugin that's not updated,
Yeah, just.
I just think it's worth
Yeah.
considering.
Just do it, whatever we get invoiced or whatever we gotta do. Just
Probably.
Do it, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the way I talk.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cheap, but, you know,
That's fine.
okay.
I don't even know what we take out of central printing and mailing. I know that's where you do copies, what do you do out of central printing? What? Central printing and mailing, I can't remember what you charge that.
Stamps? Envelopes?
Probably. Paper,
And we did
paper,
we did a lot with the stamps and we're probably way over, but I don't think we'll have to probably buy stamps next year.
Stamps is going up.
alright. So let's leave that alone. Let's just leave it alone. $600 in case we need to buy paper. You know, we do have to buy paper all the time. Paper, whatever we need. Special items, unallocated insurance. That one I did add $1,000 to because I did not get an answer, but I know we're going to be buying a new truck, and obviously the insurance is going to go up. So
Yep.
I think $1,000 will cover the difference in increase. And we have a little extra cushion there anyway, but I just want to bump $1,000 to make sure we can pay for the new truck. So I bumped
Okay.
that to $16,600. The municipal dues is the same, $500, and the contingency I left at $2,000. So that brings the total line up to $19,100. So the total for total government support at that checkpoint is $131,775. Moving down, traffic control, 6.4, we left $600. I left the $600 in there again. And I still can never remember the answer to this, but we were told by Jimmy years ago that we have to put $600 in the general budget for the highway signs. I don't understand it, never did understand it, but we've done it.
I do
forever.
remember when I went to town official training, they said the same
It
thing, but
was
I don't
something,
remember why.
and I should have the details, but I just said let it go. We use it all the time for signs, but it has to be in the general budget, don't ask me why. So I left the $600, obviously the same. Controller for dogs. Now, that one is Desiree, she put no changes for this year. Now, that's one that the salary is $43.25. I don't know if we want to stay consistent, to add $100 to it. I know that there's very little being done in that department. I mean, she's always on call, obviously,
Yeah.
but I don't think she's had a lot to do over the past few years. So I don't know if it warrants an increase. She didn't ask for an increase. I don't know. How do you guys feel about it? What do you want to do?
I'm okay leaving it. I know a couple of years ago she was very busy, but I agree. I don't think there's much going on lately, so.
She just went around, round it up to 4400.
I'm open for suggestions. I
Does she
don't
put
know.
anything in for the other?
She did not, and I didn't even receive anything from planning and zoning board, so they're probably tired of asking me. Oh, wait a minute. No. I know what they did. Yeah, they didn't give me anything back.
What's the difference
Nothing from
between
planning or
control of
zoning?
dogs and control of animals? We don't have anything for control of animals.
That all goes under the one code for dogs, control of dogs, I guess, I don't know. What do you guys think?
I'm okay leaving it.
Seems fine.
All right, we'll leave it,
Yeah.
43.25?
Yeah.
That's what happens, they don't ask for an increase. Equipment, I left $200 the same, and the contractual $600. She hasn't spent any of this money, and it's there if she needs it, but again, let's leave that all the same. So her line would stay 51.25, be the same. Examination boards, point one is BAR, $1,000. I'd like to just leave the $1,000 because we never really can tell what that's going to be. But we have had, we've always had more than enough in there, so I think that's a good number, leaving her $1,000. So total public safety, 6,725, stays the same as last year. And next line item would be the registrar of vital statistics. I left that the same. That's always been $300. I just left that the same, $300. Total health line is always $300. Then we move down to transportation, superintendent of highways. Salary is $52,316. Obviously, I left that the same since Tyler's coming in new this year, so that would stay the same for this year. And contractual, I left at $2,000. That would cover any schooling.
Where was
You're on the transportation, highway superintendent.
Page 8. Top of page 8.
Yeah, you got the page.
That personal, or that 52,316, that's what,
52,316, that's the full salary of the highway superintendent.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And that's an increase for Tyler beginning at the end of the year because we paid less.
Correct. Yeah, first of the year it goes up to that salary. Yeah. And then the contractual, the $2,000, again, that's for any schooling, dues, stuff like that he may need, which has been the same in there. Always got the same. So that line item would be $54,316. I did remove from last year the $5,000 that we put in there for overlapping.
Speaking of school, is there any school that he's supposed to go to as a newly appointed or elected?
As a newly elected official, I think you have to, once he's elected, I think he's supposed to attend the school in the spring.
You know anything about that, Tyler? You got-
No, I know Jimmy would, voluntarily go to schools once in a while, but I don't.
Well, I thought he went somewhere every year, pretty much.
Well, so, yeah, they have the,
Yeah, I don't know if that's voluntarily or if he's,
that was voluntarily, I believe, but I believe once you're
I think-
elected in the position, I do believe they encourage you to attend the,
I think newly elected, they
Yeah.
The reason I'm asking is we might want to put a little more in that if that's a school that we're going to pay for. It's not one was normally done every year.
$2,000.
I think that's a lot.
I don't know.
I think that'll cover it.
Okay.
It should cover it. If not, we'll address it.
How much did we spend on it last year?
1,200 came out last year, which I don't remember exactly. And that's again, if he goes to the school and he goes, sometimes it's in Buffalo, sometimes there's someplace he can stay overnight. So that's for the annual superintendent meeting. But as a newly elected, I think he has to attend the, I think he should attend the annual.
They usually have that up in Albany, right?
Usually a lot.
Yeah.
The only thing I did take out the $5,000 we put in there for overlapping. We thought that we were gonna have Jimmy fill it in. He never put any vouchers in. I know he didn't do a lot, but he did a little bit, and he never put in for anything. So I'm not foreseeing any reason we would have anything for next year, so I took it out completely.
Yeah.
So that drops that total line item to 54,316. I'm taking that 5,000 out.
So you don't wanna leave anything in there for?
I can't see any reason for next year we would have Jimmy do anything. You?
I don't know.
Unless we have something for the winter.
I mean, we have 4 months to go, so if something, we have something in this budget if we need it, but I mean, as far as next year, I think we would square away by then. I
I
don't know.
mean,
can always
I wouldn't
make
be
an
close to
adjustment.
cutting it down by 2/3 or something. How much was in there?
5,000.
So
Want to leave 1,000?
1,000, 1,500? 2,000.
I'll put 1,000 in. I don't think we'll use it. Why don't we put 1,000 in? All right, so that would be 55,316 if we put that $1,000 in 100% services.
I mean, some of these things, if we don't use them, then do we just finish up under budget?
Right, right, that's right. It's just less we take out of fund balance. Okay, under garage, contractual expense, 0.4, $2,000. I left that the same. Because when I looked at this earlier, we had $285 left. That's not good.
So we used about 1,800.
Yeah, it's just spent $285. I don't know exactly, again, garage, what do we take out of the garage? I think we should bump that up maybe. Let's bump that up to 2,500, just to make sure we don't have any issues. For the garage expense, the contractual oil, again, we're locked in, it's almost the same rate, a little bit more than last year, but we have $4,000. Last year we spent $2,700. We shouldn't spend really much more than that, but I'd like to leave $4,000 just in case, again, we have a terrible winter. So I think we'll leave that at $4,000. And the electric expense, I left at $1,600. That's well over. We only spent $700 last year. You know, I'd like to leave the cushion in here, so let's leave that to $1,600, which will bring that line up to $8,100 with that $500 increase. Street lighting, Bob's favorite subject.
Yeah, we spent a lot of money for this last time.
We bumped that up last year to cover it. 1668. So we're pretty darn close. So let's put that to 1,700 just to make sure, because I don't want to do this. We'll just bump up $50 because it should be 1650 should cover it, but that's just in case it goes up.
Are those aren't LEDs out there, are there?
We don't pay for the electric on those, we pay a monthly service. They charge us
I
for
see.
having the lights.
I think they are LED now, though, aren't they?
When they changed them, I don't know if they changed LED, but I know one's not working again, we're having problems with one again. But last time we complained, they came down and changed the light, they have to fix it, because we're paying for street lights, not because, it doesn't matter how much electric they take. So, but they should be LEDs, obviously for the everybody's
Yeah.
purpose.
I just want to climate.
Yeah.
point.
So the total transportation line is 65,116. I actually went down a little bit. Veteran service would be the next line, $500. I'd like to keep that the same. We always give the veterans at least a small donation to put towards the flags and everything they do for us.
And we used to give 500 to the Legion and 500 to the VFW, right?
We did.
What are we doing now? Just the Legion?
$500 to the veterans, just to the, Legion.
Because the one year we gave it when the
They actually returned it.
VFW went out of business, we gave the whole thing to the Legion. Did we do that extra there?
I think we did the 1 year, because we actually gave her,
Did
yeah.
we really?
I believe we did. I think we
That was
did.
a few years ago.
That was quite a few years ago. Then and after that, we dropped it down because there were no longer, so we went to just the
Yeah.
$1. Parks, .1 personal service. That was one that I didn't know
Can you
exactly.
see what's going on in that page?
No. Do you have the numbers, Ray?
Parks would
7,100?
be personal
I'll
service.
take your word for
Yeah,
it. 'cause I can't see.
7110.1.
Okay, we're on the right page then.
Yeah, it's cut off on ours.
So we had $1,000 in there last year. We put in there just for a little extra to have some money to pay for what we needed in the park. Now we have somebody in there doing weed and watering and stuff like that, so I think we obviously need to increase this line. I didn't know what number we wanted to pick for that. I didn't try to figure it out, but I think obviously we need to increase this. So, and I figured we'd have a discussion on what we think we're gonna be doing as far as what we're maintaining, how much we're gonna be maintaining, but what
Yeah.
we might spend on hiring somebody
Which
else.
line?
I assume,
71.
Lindsay,
Peter
that this
will
is
continue.
seasonal, right?
7110.
Or do you
I think it's
anticipate-
seasonal, but I'm not
You probably
exactly
can't
certain
read
like what the
parks.
season should be. I don't think we set it.
Does that say
in-
$1,000?
Sure.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I
that's
would
where
think
we're at.
November 1st or something like that, or earlier.
If there's nothing, you know, if nothing else is growing out there,
Yeah.
you know, there's no really increase in the,
Point forward at 20,000?
I think.
So maybe like,
Yeah, that's money we put in there to budget
October
to
Yeah,
spend on
right.
the park
Something like that.
last year.
so maybe
And how much of it have we spent?
April through October.
Yeah, the
we need
spring
maintenance.
is, the spring
Spring
we
is
haven't had
a lot
anywhere,
more.
so that's
Yeah.
probably gonna be a high use for someone to, I would suspect.
So April through May through October.
So I was just picking a round number. I was thinking maybe like $5,000. Let's just put 5,000. I think that's more than enough to cover any part-time work. And whatever we don't spend, we'll just stay in the budget. And I'll go back to the
I think
budget.
that's
Sure.
plenty.
I think that's
Probably
fair.
fine.
I think that'll cover whatever.
Yeah.
Contractual. Now this would be the money that the park, we would like the budget to spend on the park this year, or next year, excuse me, next year. I don't have a number on that. I don't know if the park had any like recommendations on what they'd like to put in for next year to spend. Last year we put in 20,000 in the budget. We spent so far.
I
We
was
spent
gonna,
10,000.
I was wondering if Amy actually did put something through, I mean, a long time ago. Probably not necessarily for next year, but I almost want to say there was something put in that was, or maybe it was
I can look it up. We've
just an idea or a thought,
Definitely
and it wasn't anything official.
reviewed
It was like a
Parks
5-year
budget.
plan.
Yeah.
Currently we
but I don't know
have.
what major expenses.
Currently
You have
we
the tool
have-
shed and tools, right?
The
That was-
like a sort of enclosure for the porta potty was one line item. Tools were like 1,000. The other things we've had conversation about is the idea of a pavilion, which would be like big
Yeah.
expense.
That we
contracting,
would
but
probably have to,
That would be another
yeah.
thing altogether.
So currently we have about 29, roughly, I'm using rough numbers, about $29,000 left in the park fund. But that has to pay for what's in this year's budget because we transfer that over. To pay
Right.
for what's in this budget.
And we have the $5,000 challenge from the Howards.
So we have, right now, we've already spent 10,200, 10,300. So minus 10,300, so roughly it's $27,000, 27, roughly left in the park fund. So
And there will probably be 10,000 additional.
if
So
you, yes,
37.
if you match that,
Yeah.
you could figure there's gonna be roughly $10,000. So yeah, so you talk about
Can we really, I mean, I
30.
hope that we get it, but should we really budget that? That's for what, December?
Well, we don't have to budget that. I mean, we can put a number in. So I mean, you know, we want to budget the whole thing, or we want to put like $20,000 like we did last year to spend money in the park.
Well, we could
You know,
put
we certainly
20,000
have that
in
much. We can
and
always
then
adjust that also.
figure out that it could come from a variety of sources. Some grants, some town funds, some from donations.
Just keep it even and then
And just work.
we
It's
can,
budget
the park
neutral.
committee is meeting next week, so we can just
I think so.
ask them for
Right.
priorities and also review the estimates that they've gotten back from that, because I'm not actually certain what, I feel like those were maybe like $8,000 or something.
For the
Is
screening,
that way too high?
the first estimate we got from that company over in Germantown was like $3,300.
Oh, really?
But that didn't include like the concrete pad.
So why don't we keep it at the 20, and then we could always go from there. I mean, if we get more donations, we can bump it up, or if we get over enough, we don't spend it. You know, we have something in there that we can work with.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
great.
I think that's
And
great.
I think we should, hopefully we can do another planting project next, like add some trees and I don't know what's gonna be next. More bushes, please, no more bushes. I don't know.
Bushes,
Of the
the
hedgerow.
last bushes that got planted don't seem to be growing as fast as we expected, right?
I don't know. I don't know. How tall are the bushes? they're over 4 feet. Some of them have like the 9-bark started here, and they're definitely some of them are at least 4 feet tall.
It's been,
I don't know.
weather-wise, it's been tough.
A couple of them may
been a lot of-
not survive.
A
Actually,
lot of rain, a lot of, I feel like there's been a lot
Well,
of
this has been a great
growth.
growing
Yeah.
season.
Yeah,
You know, you
that-
can't get
that's
much
what I'm
better,
thinking.
you know.
Well, we had a lot of
Certainly
rain in
adequate,
July,
but-
and then in August, it all dried up.
Yeah, we had a couple dry
Yeah,
weeks and it
that-
really dried out.
It's
Yep.
not good for the bushes. Probably go back.
All right, so we'll leave the $20,000 in for the contractual for the park. The brownfields, I did leave $15,000 in there again. I mean, that was our original estimate, but even though it came in less last time, I'd like to still leave the 10 to 15 in there just in case we need it. And if we don't, then that'll stay in our fund.
Yeah, we had another bill from them in the last set of vouchers, right?
Yeah, it was a small one, came in.
Well, it wasn't that small,
Well,
$2,000.
I forget.
That was for whoever was
I think that's right.
making out the report, it wasn't the testing, it was making a report based on
Yeah,
the
they have
testing.
to make the report to get to the state and all that
Yeah.
crap, yeah. All right, so that would bring our line up to $40,000 for the parks, cultural recreation. Playgrounds, this is money that we did not spend this year and they haven't asked us to, but would like to leave $3,000 in there. I know they did have a park program this year in Germantown. I don't know if they're requesting this or not from us, but they did hold the program. So if they do hold the program, you know, I'm sure next year they'll hold it. They'll probably look for that donation. So I'd like to leave the $3,000 in there for that.
Did you ever ask Livingston about the use of Twin Lakes and any sort of like opportunity to contribute and allow
I'm
our
shaking my head, but no.
town to use the?
I have not. I did not ask them that, no. I will put it on a note to do that.
It would be a nice thing. People really enjoy being there.
I can't recall who it was.
We did have a resident that came in and complained. She was about 50 feet from the town line.
Oh yeah, it's
And
a little.
Claremont,
It's silly.
and
You can't park at Twin Lakes. I don't
live
like,
it.
use it for any purpose.
But I will
Without
check
a
with,
pass.
we'll
People are
check.
very mad about it.
I think,
Be a nice
what's her
thing
name,
if they
Donna
moved to
with
it.
GAR?
Uh-huh.
I think she told me that she paid something.
They
There
did
was
have
a
individual
limited number
passes.
of and she paid something to be able to go over there.
Yeah.
All right, I will find that out. I will talk to
Funny
the
thing is your driver's license just in Livingston.
Really?
So they didn't
Gee,
catch it
they
then.
stole that
but
fee
when she
from
went
us
to
too,
get a
huh?
permit to go to Twin Lakes, she was told she was a Claremont resident, which she technically is. She's just like, you can actually, she has a picture from her house to the sign that says Livingston. You can actually read the sign.
Wow.
They're strict over there.
So they take her dog license fee, but don't give her any access.
Yeah.
All right,
I
moving
think they
along.
had 25 non-resident licenses.
Wow.
The next one will be the library.
$2,000.
Again, $2,000. I'd like to leave that in there for the library. They just sent a letter asking us for your donation for this year, so just keep that the same.
That's
Okay, Bob,
Germantown.
let's move on. Historian, how about
We can leave it at
You don't want
where
to
it
hear about
is.
paying for two
we'll
libraries.
leave it? No, we'll leave it at $950. Is
Yep.
that good?
That's
So
good.
you
Yeah.
don't actually.
No, that would be for
$950?
anything that I spend
Oh, it's for
money on.
spending.
Yeah, any contractual
You know you pay for
supplies.
two libraries, right?
Oh, here we go, here we go. We couldn't get past the library fast enough.
I go to both of them, so I'm happy to contribute.
Celebrations. I left that $1,000 in here. We took that out before, even though they're not having any more parties or anything. I'd just like to have something in case they do come up and need some kind of donation. I think we should have something in there.
I know Tammy was hoping to be able to do election day dinner and caroling. I don't know if that's still true.
We can't donate to the dinners because they charge money, but we can pay for the carol and Christmas parties, so we can't donate to that. So yeah, I'd like to at least leave something there in case they request some help with that. Cultural and recreation, so that brings it up to $46,950 total. That line item. Which I think is at the bottom of the page. $46,950.
It was down a little bit.
It went up.
This is 47,950.
42,950.
4,295.
Oh, the bottom of the two didn't look like 7.
Zoning. So the zoning board, again, did not just give me a budget for I'm back. So zoning and planning are coming up. Now, I know the zoning board specifically has asked for a raise. The chairman has asked for a raise. But I have a very hard time with our zoning and planning boards. I know they do a lot of work, but they are very well paid compared to the towns. Some towns pay $50 a meeting, which is far less than what we pay for the yearly. But we don't hold meetings every single month, especially the zoning board. Sometimes I miss 2 or 3 meetings a month. So to me, I have a very hard time increasing their salaries. The chairman gets $1,000, the board members get $800. So again,
Last night, we may have changed this quite a few years ago. Retro got nothing, they paid nothing, and they met twice a month.
twice a month. Well, that's not fair, but I mean, again, I didn't get any requests this year for any increase. Last time Hank asked for an increase, I kind of told him I didn't see it happen, and I didn't think it was necessary. So they didn't put in for one. So I don't have any intention of not increasing the salaries because, again, compared to other towns, they're actually overpaid in a lot of towns.
Do we know if there were many items that have gone to the zoning board?
I don't know exactly. I know the planning board is busier, obviously, much more busy. But I don't know the numbers. I don't know. They've had a meetings, yes, they've been meeting. But
Yeah, the zoning board has things coming to them too.
Okay. Yeah, I know it's a little more intermittent than the planning. Zoning can cancel multiple meetings during the year. And,
They don't cancel all that many.
okay.
They-
Well, I wasn't sure how much work they were actually having in the zoning board. So that's why I was asking. I'm not sure.
They don't go as late as the planning board does usually.
Right.
so I just assume leave that the same instead of increasing their salaries. So keep it at the $53.60.
Okay.
It's like $53.65. 800 times 4 is 3,200, right? Plus 1,000. What am I missing? That's 4,200.
Then you get
Oh,
the planning board.
secretary?
Secretary is separate. What is it? Maybe it's not. No, it's not. Secretary, 5,200. Why do we have 53.65? That should be 5,200. For the zoning.
Oh, for
salaries.
alternates, maybe?
We might have put something for alternates. But again, that's only $50 a meeting. I don't know how you get an odd number. I think we'll leave that at 5,200. We'll put it to 5,200 because that's the salaries. If we have an alternate, we'll take it out of the 0.4 because that's a contractual. That's paying contractual. Next is the code enforcement officer, which is what falls in the personal services CEO. He did put in for an increase this year. He put in for an increase last year, as we remember. This year he asked for less of an increase, but he put in for $1,000 increase over last year. I know he's asking that from every town he does, and he is doing a lot more. I don't have a problem with the extra $1,000 for what he's doing, because I can tell you, it's very difficult to find people to do this job, and for that kind of money is really, I think we got to bargain. So I put in the extra $1,000.
Tell him we'll give the extra $1,000 and he pays for the land.
Yeah. I mean, he's been doing a good job, and his fees, he's collecting more money, he's paying for his salary. I'm not looking for him to make money on that department, but, for him to offset his salary is good. So I don't have a problem with the extra $1,000. And I spoke to the other two towns, Livingston and Germantown, and they both are giving him the increase as well, so.
Where's his contractual go? Is he,
His contractual,
does that remain the same, or is he also bumping that as well?
he had in, where did I put that? No, he had $500 in his contractual, but what you're looking at, the zoning board contractual.
Oh, okay.
Also, that's what we use for the attorney, stuff like that.
I see, yeah.
So, the actual code enforcement officer only has $500 total for his contractual.
Yeah, he was gonna give us some numbers about software that
For
he.
Unicity.
Yeah, he did not. I have to follow up with him on that. Municipal, something.
Something
I
like that.
looked it up, but they don't have any, I was gonna say how much it was, but you have to get a quote.
I
from
think that's again something we're
salesperson.
gonna have the county get involved with to get the towns involved in.
Yeah, they may have multiple modules,
That municipal
Lindsay,
thing he was talking
and
about,
that may be
program
why
they could input
they
his
can't
stuff
Sure.
give you a
out
straight
in the
up.
field.
They're just in Red Hook.
One spot on the computer. Yeah, I think again the county has to. I think the county has to.
He wants us to buy a set of books for him also.
I asked him that. He said not this year. He's still going to do it electronically, so we don't have to pay for books. So that'll be maybe 2023. So I'd like to leave the rest of the equipment 100 and the contraction 4,000. So that would bring that up to 24,300 total for that department.
So the code enforcement officer gets paid out of planning?
That comes out of this. No, code enforcement comes out of the zoning personal services CEO. That's the $15,000.
Oh, that's what
Now, the planning board, again, leaving salaries the same, would stay the 6,800, that is the correct number with the zoning, with the secretary in there. And the contractual, I did bump that up just an extra $500, just because they have been very busy and spending some money. And, we're already at 50, where is it?
Is that contractual, is that where we pay the attorney?
Yeah. They've got $1,700 left for the year, but the way things are going and as busy as
they
they
use
are,
that
and
up.
all the hearings are having, I think we need to just put a little extra in there. So I put that to $6,000.
I agree.
Last year we spent 52,22, so we were close. So that would bring that total up to 12,800. Total home,
Wasn't it 12.8?
it was 12,800. What did I say?
We increased, right, by 500.
We increased by $500, correct?
Okay. I thought you said it would bring it up to 12,800.
12,800. Did what? 12,800. Last time it was 12,300.
All right, my numbers aren't right then. 6,000.
6,000.
8010.11. Did you catch that one?
It's 6,800.
Point one in planning is 6,800,
Right,
and the point four is 6,000.
correct.
Makes 12,800.
So last year's number says 12,800, but we just bumped that up by 500.
No, it's 12,300.
300.
Is it?
Ah, you do
I was
that
thinking it was
too.
12,800.
I can't read it either.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's like 800 on here.
Hard to read. but
That's
printed.
why.
There you go. So the total home and community services, 37,100 is the line item down there. How much is that?
37 what?
37,100. We're almost through the hardest one. We're almost done. All right. Employee benefits, state retirement. I did bump that up to 12,600, just an extra $600 because we're considering increases with the salaries, retirement, and health insurance, and blah 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 will go up. So I just threw an extra $600 in there to offset that. Social Security, same thing. That's all automatically calculated, so that would go up to $12,093. And the hospital and medical insurance, I left at $9,000 because that is sufficient, more than enough for this single plan. That's the one for the highway superintendent. So that total line would be $33,693. So the total appropriations is $322,159. All right, that's appropriations. Now let's do the depressing one, revenues. Okay. Total revenues. So we'll start out with interest and penalties on real property, which is the first line item. That is what we get for the tax penalties from Joan Buser. Last year we collected $4,784. This year, where are we? We're at $5,047. So we actually made our revenues. We predicted. I'm thinking just to keep it the same. It's I think it's going to be very close, probably going year to year. Within a few. Who knows? But I think I'll just leave it $5,000 revenue. Looks like it's going to be right on. Sales tax by the county. Now that's the big number. Last year we ended up with $213,943. Which was quite a bit over what we anticipated. This year, we're going to end up even better. But going forward, I'd like to be on the conservative side because we never know how long this bump is going to last.
Right.
But I think we can bump it up to 200,000 and be conservative and still have a cushion. So I'd like to bump the revenue up to 200,000. And that'll also go into highway revenues as well because we split it. So the $200,000 bumps us 20 grand. So that helps us out a lot. Distribution by the county, that's the sales tax. The cable franchise fees, I don't know if they continue to drop, but this year we actually received $11.85 this past year. This year we received, what did we get? We got $1,120. So we're real close. They continue to go down a little bit each year. I think we're close enough. Just leave it $1,100.
It's going to keep going down because fewer and fewer people are using cable.
Probably.
I was going to say it's going to be a downward trend, I think.
I mean, if it's a little under, it will be fine. I think we can leave that alone for this year. Clerk fees. This year, look at this. Year to date, $2,500. I don't know how that happened. Whew.
Double time.
So we're well over what we anticipated last year. So I think we could probably maybe bump that up a little bit. We want to go to 2,000. We got 2,500 last year. I think or this year. I think we could anticipate $2,000. Just a little extra revenue. Facilities charges would be the same. That would be the $4,000 for the rental of the community house or lease. Unless we talk about increasing that, which I don't really.
We haven't heard anything different from the church, have we?
No.
Okay.
No. I think they're content that we don't increase it, and we're content that they
Well,
stay.
we gave it 1
Right.
month.
We did last year. This year we gave 1 year. 1 year we didn't. 1 quarter we didn't have to pay. We gave them $1,000
Right,
off
right.
because they were
Right,
using it for the first.
because of the COVID.
Was that last? That was last year. That was last year. That was last year. We only got 3,000 last year. So this year they've been paying because they have been using it. So that'll stay the same. Zoning fees. I I never know what to do with those. So far, we have none recorded because they haven't been keyed in. Last year we got $500. I think we should just leave it to $400. I think it's an accurate guesstimate. Planning fees. We are at. They're actually $724, so they're actually over what we anticipated. The year before they got $850. This year they're going to be over. I think we should leave it alone. $700 is pretty close.
Yeah.
We're happy with that. So that would give tobacco as the next line of service of the government. The tobacco money is the $9,500 in that line item. I'd like to keep that the same because I don't know that the county. This has been an argument that the county was talking about not reimbursing that extra because it was always
Used to be like
$12,000.
12.
They cut that when everything got cut. We're all like, well, everything's back. You got money given to you by the government. Why aren't we getting the full amount again? So it's an argument going on. I don't know where we're going to end up, but I think we better budget less. If we get the extra $3,000, we'd be very
Yeah,
happy.
Where that one?
kind of
$9,500.
comes back to my
Tobacco
argument before about how bad the
$22.90.
tobacco industry was hit and
$9,500.
consideration for sale of marijuana. I just don't understand why. I don't know. Yeah, I would just like consistency on that, but different topic.
That's a different topic.
We're talking about the budget and how much money we're getting for that.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
All right, so interest. Last year we got 3177.
Probably not going to see a whole.
We're probably going to be lucky to see that this year.
Yeah.
I got a feeling, that's going to be. I think we should cut that because the interest rates are just in the toilet. There's
Right.
no good upside. There's nothing looking promising. I think we should drop that to $2,000.
And what is our? What was that? Straight interest, or did we actually?
We're in a money market account, which is a little bit better. They say it's better, but that's not a CD because the CDs right now
We
are
can't.
in the toilet.
Yeah.
We can lock them in with the with the municipal CD, but they're just no better. I mean, nothing is
Right.
paying anything right now. And I've asked them, and they told me they're like, for the next couple of years, we have so much money, we don't want your money.
Yeah.
They want you. They don't want it. They want to loan you money because
Right.
they can't. But
Where is that money that we got, that big check from the federal, from the state?
That's in a separate account. That's in the actual. I put it in an actual separate reserve account. That's separated.
Find out any more about how we can use that for?
I haven't actually had that conversation yet. Still working on that. I haven't done anything with that. But
While I'm thinking of that, I wondered about, that repairs on Turkey Hill. Can we kind of say that some of that was because we got extra water going through there from some of the floods? Just,
you could say whatever you want, I guess. If they're going to reimburse it, I don't know.
But I don't think we were in a county that was declared
Yeah, we didn't. The county. I don't think the county put anything like
because
that.
Dutchess wasn't.
The county has to file a declaration of.
well, I wasn't
disaster.
looking for that so much as using some of that money. We still don't know how we can use that money, and if we can use it for supposed damage because of hurricanes.
We'll find
But
out.
we should keep that in
We'll
mind.
find out. Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
find out. Yeah. We'll look into it.
I mean, that's gonna cost us a few dollars, right, Tyler?
Yeah. Yep, it is.
All right, we'll look into that. Dog fees. Let's get dog fees.
You're leaving that line item the same, right?
Yeah, I think
3,000.
2,000.
Oh,
We'll
2,000.
drop it to 2,000. Yeah, I don't think we're going to see $3,000. Especially if we're going to take $200,000 out for a truck, so we'll lose a little more
Yeah.
interest.
Okay.
Dog license. I think we need to bump that down a little bit. For some reason, we got over anticipating dog licenses. Year to date
Going to
right now.
Livingston.
Year to date right now,
We
we
did
have
$110.
$100. So I think we should drop that down like $200.
That seems low.
That seems low. They could not. They may not be up to date, but We only got 224 last year, so let's go with 200.
So we're still doing dog licenses here, or something like that?
It seems
That
like
they
we
We're not
took
doing
away
hunting
from-
licensing.
Hunting license, okay, that's what they took away.
Do we send renewal letters out?
I'm sorry?
Do you send renewal letters out? Like, do you know when somebody's dog license expires?
Yeah, renewal notices. And it seems like I get most of them back. So,
All right, building permits. That I did bump up $1,000. He hasn't turned in this month's, last month's yet, but we're up $11,000 already. And, you know, he has to have more money coming in. We got 4 months to go. And last year he came in on $21,000. So I think we're gonna probably be well over 15. And we also just increased the fees a little bit, so I think we're gonna see a little bit more money for next year. So I think bumping to 1,000 is safe. I'd like to just split the
To
15,000.
15?
Yeah.
So, can you just repeat what we did with the dog licenses?
I dropped that to 200.
You did drop it, okay.
Yeah, I think we should lower that.
Okay.
We're not talking about
Yeah, we had a discussion, and then I kind of lost track of where we landed on it.
permits other. I believe that's driveway permits, right? Is that driveway permits?
Or $50.
Yeah. We only had 2 this last year. This year, where are we at?
Because they
4
were
or
at
5
25, I
already.
think they went up, driveway permits.
There's probably gonna be some more this year
there's one
because
that's not on there yet.
there's a couple of subdivisions that are going one off of Cedar Hill Road.
Yeah, so let's leave that at $100. Let's just covers, you know, give us some, because we do have all the time that. And fines and forfeitures would be for the court. Last year we received $13,700. This year, we've only received, is that right? $4,200? Wow, that sucks. Well, it's been a slow court year and all that stuff going on. I think we better drop that because that can't be right. We've had $4,000. Let's drop that down to like,
And looking back at
I mean, last year was
2017.
13,000. You know, I mean, I don't know how you anticipate
2017,
that.
it was 8343.
Let's do a 7,500. There's no sense of over anticipating something that we're not gonna get. State aid, that is been approved. That is still on the budget for next year, so we'll leave that to 8,800. We get that every year. Mortgage tax would be the next one. Again, that's really a crapshoot. I mean,
So what about, oh, okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
we made out good with mortgage tax so far this year. You know, we've already received $30,000. We got another payment to come. More than likely, that'll probably be well over 40. I think last year we got 57,000. I know we got like 57,000. I think 40 is a conservative number. I feel comfortable leaving it 40. I don't really want to bump that up, you know, and have things change. But it looks like it's going to increase and stay up there. So I think we should leave it alone. And under revenues, the other thing is under interfund transfer under the park fund. I did put the $20,000 in that we budgeted for expenditure, so that'll be the money we transfer from the park over, so it shows an income for the budget.
Okay.
So that brings us, so that stays the same because we did the same thing last year. So that brings the total estimated revenues to $316,300.
Say that again, please.
$316,300.
Just remembering Mary's comments from the other night around the comprehensive plan. Is that something that we need to address?
That's a talking point we can discuss. When we get done with this, if we want to see where we're at, and we talk about if we want to start looking at putting together a reserve fund or something for a comprehensive plan, we can budget money to put into that. So that's something we should discuss.
Yep.
All right. I guess that's it, right?
So do we have a number for appropriated fund balance?
I didn't put anything yet. I
Okay.
was gonna wait and see where we ended up.
Okay.
Okay, let's move on to highway appropriations. Okay. Now, the highway appropriations salaries, last year was 86,136. If you remember, we've been doing a 1.5% increase every year for the highway department. This is something that, I think we need to discuss, but, it's put in for a 2% raise this year for the highway guys, on the budget. Now, this is an issue going on with a lot of the towns, with the lack of help, hard time getting people to help. I don't know if you're familiar with Ankrum, what they did, but the town of Ankrum actually went ahead and gave all the guys a serious raise. The lowest guy is making $26 an hour, and the senior guys are making $28 an hour, which is like, we're paying 21. Huge difference. Other towns, I haven't heard anybody doing anything crazy, but they are looking at giving a little bit more than a 2% raise. I just ran some numbers. I thought, for budgeting purposes, I threw in a 5% raise to see what it would do. Basically, it bumps them about $1 an hour. You're making $21 roughly, with a 2% raise. So the 5% raise, you're making like $21.75 or something like that. It's not a huge difference, but it does make, it does make a difference.
What do we pay them now?
Their salary, their hourly rate with a 2% rate would go to $21.09.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if we give an extra 3%, we'll go to $21.69, $21.70, something like that. I don't have a problem with doing that. I mean, I think we need to do something to retain our guys, because I got to tell you, if we lose any of them,
What
we're
are
in trouble.
what are they being
Because
paid?
we can't hire.
Yeah, no,
What are they being
whatever we
paid
need to
now?
do. It's just
Before-
fine.
Before that, well, minus out that 2109 minus percent, we're making 2066.
2066.
So
And
2066
you're saying that
plus
that the
5%.
other,
We'll give it
the other
21.69. I'll give it a
the other-
dollar an hour raise.
the other towns are.
I've only talked to a couple other towns. They are considering giving it more than 2% raise. I don't know what I don't think they're going. They're not doing
You
what
just talked
Ankrum.
about Ankrum.
Ankrum was special. They did this months ago. They did this.
Mhm.
He just turned around and did it. And I don't know how he's paying for it with this year's budget, but he did it. So, but yeah, I guess he had some problems where he was worried about losing his guys, and there was talk about them leaving, and he wanted to make sure he kept them.
Well, there's always that possibility.
There's always that possibility.
I wouldn't be opposed to bringing them up a little more, up to, 22 something, 23. I mean.
Where did you say the
Yeah.
5% came, Ray?
What?
5%, we're bringing to 21.69.
In all honesty, that rate right there, they would have made more on unemployment last summer.
I was gonna say, I'm leaning towards 5%.
I'm fine with that.
That's what I threw in as a number, just because that's what I thought. I mean, that's why I wanted to talk about it. I mean, we can do whatever we want. I mean, if we do less, we can do more. I mean.
Well, you said 2169, right?
21.
Round it up to 22 then.
Times 52, 45,000 a year. 45,760.
That's without over.
And then what's the value of their benefits package? I think 22 is fine. I would agree with you. I think that seems very reasonable.
I mean, I think along with doing that, there should be an
If we can afford
explanation.
it, I would think.
Tyler's here, he can pass that on, to them, that this is because, of the way employment things are going and the job that they've done over the years. We're not expecting to give that big an increase every
Ever
year or
again.
next year, ever again. But I think
It's an
it's
adjustment.
fair to say that because of the job that they've been doing for us for years, and we appreciate it, and so we'd like to bring them up, a significant amount this year.
You have to understand your experience level too. You have a high experience level, so.
Yeah, we don't have like any tiers of
We
Like a new
don't.
person coming.
We don't,
on
we've had
should
some
have a lower
informal
rate.
discussions about that, not, as a full rate. I've talked about it, I think it's been mentioned in some of our meetings that we probably should do something like that. If we bring somebody in new, that they should be paid less for a period of time.
I don't think so.
Right. But right now, I mean, it's just anybody, Colorado, is that, everybody's trying to hire people, the county can't hire people. We actually pay better than the county, but they just can't get drivers, they can't do people.
What's the county paying now?
They're actually, with the step in it, I think they're like $20, or well less than what we're paying. I mean,
At
they're
the
on-
highest step?
I think once they get their full step, they're right around 21, I believe.
So.
But that's
if
3
they're-
years, it's taken 3 years to get to that.
Yeah, but how long have these guys been here?
Oh, yeah, no, I know, so I'm
they're,
just
they're
saying,
better than 3 years.
we're, it's,
I mean, they've been here longer than I have, and I've been on the
we'd
board
be
12
very
years.
hard pressed to find people to replace if anybody has left. So. It
But
works
at-
out to about a
at the same-
6.5% raise.
At the same time, we should make it clear that this is a one-time thing. Thank you for all the good work we've done and recognizing the situation with employment these days. But at the same time, I think we should probably, as Lindsay just brought up, is do something with, a step increase. So if we hire somebody new, they don't come right in it. Although if we do have to hire somebody, so we may have to.
Then the 20.
You're
whatever,
gonna
fine.
be hard pressed to find people, yeah, so. All right, if I put that in, so the salary would be 91,520 for the two salaries at 40 hours times 52 hours times 2. So then the the overtime budget needs to be increased because obviously at a higher rate, if we have overtime, I think we better bump that to $10,000 just to be safe. We're at 8,800. And contractual under, which is general repairs, okay, so that, they're keeping the same at $15,000. So the total for that line item is $116,520. So just so you know, your number's gonna be a little bit off now, because, oh no, never mind, erase that, that's fine.
What was that? That's gonna bring us back to Social
Social
Security.
Security's gonna go up a
Yeah.
little bit. So,
What about retirement?
retirement will go up a hair, yes. But this should calculate that. Let me just look.
Should we go back to that, make an adjustment?
Let's see if it looks, let me see if it calculates. No, it did not.
So Ray, you put it, it's 5%?
It's actually gonna be $22 an hour.
22, okay.
We're rounding off to $22 an hour, which will be a little over 6.5%, almost 6.5%.
Okay.
I'll have to go back and figure that out afterwards with the retirement. We did
And
bump it
that's a
anyway,
one-time
Yeah,
thing.
which I think is
that
probably close enough.
percentage.
I think
That
there's-
percentage,
In
right.
in recognition of work that's been done in the employment situation and all of that stuff, that we want to reward the guys for a job well done over many
Social
years.
Security will probably be a little bit of a
Okay.
bigger bump.
Something along that line.
Right.
We had that at 12.
Right, but for the
12
highway
on
guys, those benefits are down at the bottom.
Yeah,
of the
we'll
page.
have that in the bottom of the highway, we're gonna get to that in a minute. Highway appropriations, we can bump that.
Okay.
Okay, improvements. This is the roadwork lines. This is where we saw CHIPS money come in, put in for 50,000 under improvements and 50,000 for CHIPS. So we're looking at $100,000 worth of work to do on the roads this year, which is a slight increase over last year. But the CHIPS reimbursement is coming in at $64,554. So that'll be in our revenues. So that's actually a little bit higher. So we're actually spending
So is that-
36,000.
Is that chips, is that something we have to match, or is that,
We do not have to match it.
we have to spend it?
We have to spend it. Some towns do match it. We used to match it, but now that we're getting more, we have an increase what we're putting in, but we don't have to match it. So we're spending 35,000 roughly in town money on the roads this year, plus the CHIPS money. So that's a total of $100,000 on the improvement line. Bridges, should we wait for,
Lindsay?
Lindsay?
Yeah.
I think she'll be
Give her
right
a
back. Where do the part-time highway guys, where are they, their salary?
Part-time
I think
is,
we take that right out of the overtime line.
Okay.
Yeah, that comes out of the overtime line.
that's mainly for snowplow.
Yeah.
And when,
Okay, so CHIPS, highway improvements, $50,000 for improvements and $50,000 for CHIPS reimbursable. So that's a total of $100,000 this year, so that's a slight increase because the CHIPS reimbursement is going up, so we have $64,000 coming from CHIPS. Bridges.
now how do we know how much we're getting from chips already?
They actually gets they tell you what you're getting from it, $64,554. They actually approve it, right? So that's in the budget.
And this revenue too is part of the pave NY money that we didn't use. We didn't use the pave NY.
That's why it's so high.
Right.
Okay. Bridges, $1,000. What is this? Now here's where I put and I didn't know exactly where to put this. So I think maybe we should add it to this. This is probably where we should add the money for the replacement of Turkey Hill. We're going to talk about fixing that. We have an estimate from our engineer of $12,000. So I think we should put that in here somewhere, and I just wasn't sure exactly where to put it.
That $12,000, is that to repair?
That was everything. That was there for the engineering, permitting, and repair of the culvert.
Is that for the embankment sort of area? Like
I don't know if
talking
it's
about
covered
the
the embankment or
shoulders?
not.
I don't know if it covered building the road or anything. No, I think it was just the repair of the actual.
But the actual structure, I don't know if it includes the embankment. The embankment is what needs to be really fixed the most, so.
So we
I'll look
may,
that back over again.
we may find a little more expense in there for something like that for the highway department to deal with it. But I just don't know exactly where I want to put that. I don't think-
We haven't gotten any actual estimates from anybody yet to do that work, right?
Yeah, we get it from CPL, $12,000.
That's not a bid, that's a,
Well, no, we have to bid it out because of the price. Well, it's professional service. We don't actually have to, but we will. And it's kind of fair because now somebody knows what his price is. But and he did send me an email correcting the price. It's obviously
I
$12,000.
showed him that the other night at the planning board meeting.
And that's for the permitting, environmental assessment form, project plans, and project bid documents for the lump sum of $12,000.
So that's just the plan, that's not doing the work. That's not doing the work.
Project plans. Oh, yeah. I misread that.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's not gonna work. I read it as project plans. No, it's project plans.
So that's just the plan.
That's just to do the permitting and the planning of it.
That's right, that's what we would pay to,
CPM.
the engineer.
Well, that's not gonna work.
And then a separate contractor to do the
You're gonna
work.
have to get somebody to do the whole.
So it's gonna be much more.
Oh, you could be talking a lot of money then, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that George didn't give us an estimate on what it would cost to do the work. That's,
Well, I don't know how we're gonna.
It's
go.
not, he doesn't actually do the work other than the plan, right?
right.
Yeah, he's got his own, CPL's got their own men. He said that, we'll do it.
Oh,
If we choose to use them.
yeah.
Oh, they have more than just the engineers now? They have actual workers?
Yeah, they have a crew. George said they have a crew that will come and do the work.
Okay, because when it was Morris Associates, they didn't, I don't believe.
Right.
Yeah, they,
They're a much bigger firm now.
they
I
may
didn't
be,
get one from Town County Bridge and Rail yet. I have the guys who got back to me.
How do you, we can't bid it out until the money's allocated for that purpose, or can we do it in advance to
Oh, we
know how much
can.
it's gonna be?
We can bid it out and find out what it would be, absolutely. We could always do an amendment to the budget. We may bid it out and say it's $50,000, forget it, we're not doing it right now. Maybe we do something like build the road up and secure it instead of going through the whole project too. I don't know. I mean, at this point, I don't know how serious it is. I mean, they said, the biggest part of it, I think, is the road part of it.
Is the shoring of the
The
bank.
bank.
That's the worst, that's what needs to be.
So it may be something we may not, if we can make it secure, we may not have to go through the whole project.
Now, is that something that you guys can do? Tyler?
Not very easy, because really, in order for me to do that, the structure has to be extended out. Because right now, it's right level with the pavement like this, so you have pavement and then nothing. There's no shoulder, there's no cross slope or anything right there, it just drops right off. So there's really no way for me to put block or anything there. The only thing holding the bank up, like I said, is a little.
So I guess I'm wondering if we need, that estimate that George gave of $12,000, that's for the engineering work, is the way I understood it.
Yeah, no, definitely reads that way now.
And before we're gonna know how much it's actually gonna cost and which part should be done first and whatever, we need to have some of that engineering work done. I mean, George has looked at it. I don't know whether he can just do it from a little more work from his desk, or he's gotta go back out there, or he's gotta bring somebody out.
We need to definitely put money in the budget for something, and we'll have to go from there. We don't have to absolutely do the whole project, but we need to at least do some engineering work on it and find out.
But how much
What if
of
we
it
could-
do we need to do this year?
Yeah, I don't know. So
The
I
other
don't know
thing
what-
is, my understanding was that he didn't indicate that it was dangerous, or I thought he had a certain level where, yeah, we should take a look at it and maybe do something, but it wasn't something that would be
We don't have to
close the
immediately.
road sort of thing, so.
It was
Yeah,
dangerous with the weight of traffic that was on it, but we
Right,
taken care of
right,
that.
so we took care of
So
that,
now the risk level is
right. So
much less.
We
yes.
could even budget maybe half of it and then budget the other half and maybe do it, a year and a half from now, potentially.
Well,
It's
I think
another
we need
option,
to-
I think.
I think we need to get some more input from George.
Yeah,
Right, and find out exactly how much it's gonna cost to do the work, and see whether or not some of that, we're talking about paying for our truck with that half of the money that we got, right? Or are we paying for the whole truck
Oh,
using
okay.
both hands?
All right.
I'm not sure yet.
But
Either way.
anyway, what I'm thinking is that we've got that money coming in, and we don't even know if we can spend it on a truck yet. But maybe we can spend it on this, because there's damage that's been done, and that's can't tie it to any one particular hurricane, but it's wear and tear that was not anticipated, and so that money maybe can be spent for that. And if that's the case, we want to sign it up. So I guess what I'm really getting to, the bottom line is, I don't want to see us lose that money in any way that we can figure out.
Oh, we're
to
definitely
spend
gonna
it.
find a way to spend
If we
it.
spend it here, where we would have had to spend other money, we can use the other money over here if we have to, But I want to get that money, not just spend it in thin air, but just,
Yep.
I want that money spent because we get it back.
So
Or we've
where do we
got it.
wanna,
We've
where do we
got to
wanna
have
put
it.
this money in the budget for, we gotta put something there, so I
I mean,
don't-
I think this is as good a spot as any.
Yeah, I mean, it's either under improvements or bridges, one of the two I think we should put it under.
Is it a bridge?
It's actually a culvert.
It's a
Just.
stone.
well, I think
arch
all our coverts
culvert.
are listed under
I think we
bridges.
could put it under improvements, under the CHIPS money, we'll just put it under contractual, because it's gonna be contractual anyway. We'll do a contractual 0.4 under the improvements line, because that's what it's gonna be, it's an improvement on the culvert. I think we can, just for now, we'll put it in there, what number do we wanna pick though? That's the
It's gonna
thing,
be a big one.
$20,000?
Well,
I think it's
also,
gonna be
too,
bigger than
I've
that.
got-
It's gonna be-
It depends on what we wanna
I've
budget.
got quite a bit of CHIPS money gonna be left over too. So just to shore the bank up, that's a good chunk of money, there's over 15,000 in that.
Yeah.
you
So
can
there's
do
a
that
good
this
chunk
year.
of money right there that we could use for just the shore the bank up.
As step one, and then do
Mhm.
the actual,
Yeah, step
whatever repairs
But
necessarily
I think we
for
need to
next
get
year.
George
For the structure
to
itself.
give us some
yeah.
steps. You know, is there 3 parts to this thing, or 2 parts, or 6 parts? And what are the costs of the parts?
So maybe we just wanna put some money in for engineering.
Yeah,
Well, that would go under our town engineering back.
Feels like we should probably budget at least 25,000 though, right, for the actual work
Right.
itself?
The 12,
I mean, I can't
It's
imagine it being
probably,
less than
yeah,
that. And we
yeah,
have the
sure.
federal funding.
yeah.
That I
Right.
can't imagine this is not, you know, something we could.
12 for the
Use
engineering work and
what's
then
that?
another 25.
I don't,
All right,
I don't
let's put that under
scope.
improvements. Why don't we put under improvements, because that's really what it's gonna be, right underneath the CHIPS line, the .4 contractual, the 5112.4. We put $25,000 in for improvements.
And then Tyler, you said the 15,000 you're talking about is 2021 money,
Yes.
correct?
Yeah, that's
So-
what I still have. Yes,
So we should potentially bid that out like sooner than later, so that you.
Yeah,
can
for
use the
that,
money
yeah.
on
I mean, the
some of
original plan before I came across that, because the CHIPS money you can use towards machinery for a truck. That was the
Uh-huh.
original plan, and it's up to you guys really. So
Oh, I see, so it would be used by
yeah.
that.
Yeah, we were gonna
expenditure
steal a little of
anyways.
that to pay for your mower too, I think, so.
Oh, okay.
We might do that too,
Alright.
but,
Sorry.
but there'll be some left.
No, it's okay.
So under engineering, then we should
Well,
just under the
completely.
engineering line, I'll back up because this is back in the general appropriations, we need to bump that up to cover it.
But are we gonna spend that this year?
It'll be for next year.
Okay.
So I'll bump that up to cover the $12,000 if we have to do the whole thing. So we're at 4,000, so let's bump that up to 16,000. That'll cover,
Where was that?
Yeah, I'm not
this is
sure
back
if
under
he,
general appropriations,
I'm not sure if
all the way
he
back under the engineers line.
I'm not sure if he can do that in parts, and part of it maybe, you know, early next year, and the other part later next year, or the following year, 22.
Do you need engineering to do the road work first?
Page 4.
Well, no, the road work itself is fine. The road itself is actually well, if it's starting to shift, I can take care of that. I have the equipment to do that with.
But the work on the bank, you would need engineering to address.
You would, because
Yeah.
you'd have to build. It'd have to be concrete
Right.
walls.
Highway
Yeah.
And because there's a stream involved, the DEC gets involved.
Yeah.
And that's where George will,
And the Army Corps.
and the Army, that's where George will interact with them. So you don't have to act with them directly. I mean, you may,
Yeah, George will take care of it. It's actually a joint permit where the Army Corps.
Blowing
and
his
DEC
budget all to
will-
hell.
So we're
Sure is.
going back to page 4 and taking that 4,000.
I backed it up and took the
16.
engineering line from 4,000 to 16,000, which changes all your numbers.
I'm not even gonna try it.
Yeah, it's just easier not to. And then under highway appropriations, I added 25,000 under the 5112.4 underneath the CHIPS money. $25,000, which would give us a start on any of the work repairs if we need to. And again, we don't
or
spend.
maybe it'll give us all of it. You
We
know.
may pay for all of it, we may not do it all, maybe we'll, who knows, but at least it's in there so we have some money to fix it. So that brings
It's
up,
also in there that we can, look at that money that we got from the state as maybe covering some of that.
yeah, we could always bring that money in to pay for that, sure. All right, so that takes care of that. Bridges, we're gonna leave it $1,000 because that's the money used every year in that line item. That's what we asked for, 3,000 or 1,000. Machinery. This is where we put the truck in the budget, so it is in here. It's gonna blow our numbers all out of whack. But under equipment, I got $206,000. 200. No, wait a minute. What did I do right? 206,000 would be the truck. The truck is 202,000, right? Or 200,900. So 201,000 is going to be the truck. And I put an extra $5,000 in there just in case we needed some kind of equipment. For
Yep, I got the other 5,000.
Yep, you got the other 5,000 in case you need something that comes up that's unexpected. Contractual. We moved to 15,000. That's what we had last year. Yep, same as last year, 15,000. So that brings that total up to 221,000. It's just gonna look really bad in our budget because of the trucks budgeted in there, but we obviously have the money to offset that. Brush and weeds, 14,000 is the same as last year.
Which is actually fuel.
That's where you use the fuel out of, which has always been, makes no sense why it says brush and weeds, but that's the fuel for all the diesel and gas. And snow removal, we lifted $20,000, same amount as last year.
With
Pretty
the
good
lowest
shape.
rain we've had, we're not gonna get any snow this time.
Maybe not, maybe not.
The plows are running out.
So state retirement,
Believe that, I'll give you another
I
one.
did bump that up, I bumped it up $1,000. Because if we're increasing salaries, that's probably gonna go up, so that'll be $17,000. And social security, bump it up, I guess $400, I don't know, $500, I'm not exactly sure, so let's go $500, I'll put $8,200. Make sure we got enough in there. And hospital and medical insurance, I'm keeping the same. Haven't heard much of an increase, and we already have enough budget. We had one last year was $35,700, so we have a nice cushion there. Let's leave that alone, $41,000, the same as last year. So the total is $66,200 for the hospital and medical insurance total. And total appropriations is $563,720. That's ugly.
Yeah.
Okay, highway revenue. Taxes from the county, again, we bumped that up 200,000. That's the sales tax, so that's 50/50. So that moved up. Interest and earnings. That needs to go down. I think we should drop that down. Where are we at right now? I'm sure it's terrible.
Cut it in half.
We've got $100, yeah. I think we should put like $500 in there. I really do. It's terrible.
Okay.
Which one is that?
Interest. We're only at a couple $100 right now. It's terrible. Let's move it down
Horrible.
to $500.
Yeah.
State aid, that's where the CHIPS money reimbursement. So the consolidated highway, we put 64,000 in there. Take the extra $500 as a bonus, so we get it. And down at the bottom, interfund transfer from the highway reserve. That is where we're bringing the money in from the truck. So I just put $200,000 in to bring in from the truck reserve fund, which we currently have 235,000 in. So that's gonna pretty much put a hurting on that, but we haven't made a transfer this year yet either, so.
But we also, that also doesn't account for that extra
Where is that?
couple $100,000 we're getting from the state, right?
Correct.
We got
Nothing to do with
95
that.
so far, and we got another 95
I'm
coming.
ignoring that money for right now, because I don't know what the deal is with that, but yeah, we have that. Let's
Well,
pretend we don't for now.
I guess you understand what I'm trying to push to is to get that legally spent. Right?
We're definitely going to get it spent. We'll find a way to spend it. All right. So total estimated revenue is $464,500. Appropriated reserves. We also need to put in money that we're going to transfer. Now, why didn't I put that in the last general? Let me look back here. For what we're transferring to capital. I didn't put that in under general. We missed it. I missed it for some reason. Every year we transfer the money to the reserve fund. We put that in the general fund. I missed that one every time I did this. Right? Where did I put that? Oh, it is under highway. Okay, it is a highway fund. Transfer to capital reserve. This year we budgeted $50,000 to be transferred over to highway capital reserve. So we'll keep it under highway, I'm sorry. Highway Appropriations.
What was the line item on that?
Oh, there it is. That's why I missed it. This will be under the highway appropriations. The number is 9950.9. It's at the very bottom of the highway appropriations. The highway
995.
9950.9.
Okay.
You'll see last year was 50,000 right next to it.
No, there's nothing there.
Nothing.
No.
Mine shows 50,000.
Page 11, Bob?
Page 15 is 50,000.
15. Mine the wrong
Is that
page.
it?
I don't know.
That's it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Oh,
So we didn't talk about how much we wanted to do this year, but I think, we probably should, since we have a decent amount of revenue, I think we should probably stick with the $50,000 a year to keep us on track of putting money into our reserve.
So does that change the 563,
Yes, it
720?
does. Absolutely.
Okay.
That'll make that 613,730. What I can do when I get this all done, I can send you guys a draft of this, so we don't have to go back and look at all these scribbles.
That are wrong.
Yeah, it's hard, especially when you go back and change something. Okay. So that's it. Salaries, salary page. I did update those, which is the last page, to say the supervisor is 5,600, town board 10,400. I'll have to change that 2,600 apiece. And change that. That's fixed. Town clerk 7,100. Town justices would be
11.4.
where's that way off? 11,400. It's 5,700 each. I don't know why I said something else there. 5,700 each. Tax collector 4,700. Superintendent highways is the same, 52,316. Building code enforcement officers 15,000. And assessor 15,575. Okay. In theory, that's everything. So,
Can't look very pretty.
well, it looks like, let me just double check this. It looks like we're gonna need $62,000 out of, 62,500 basically out of
That's actually
reserves.
fairly close to what
Our fund
was it
balance.
last year?
Yeah, actually last year was,
Last year we had the remediation we had to pull money from, right?
last year we took more than that, I think. Not 52,000.
Year before that was probably close to the
Of
same.
course, we were 100,000 in some years. It's not bad because we're underestimating the revenues a little bit. It helped a lot by bumping the sales tax up because that saved us like $40,000. That helped offset some of our other expenses.
So
So,
62,000, that's for highway and general, or just?
yeah, that's both total. Yeah, because right now it's showing 150,000 highway. So yeah, yep, that's total. 62,000.
And what did we allocate for the Turkey Hill Road
25,000.
in total?
And 12,000.
And
And
12,000.
Oh, okay.
Engineering.
So engineering. So that's almost everything. We wiped out our extra revenue right there. But,
Yeah.
But some of this, we're not accounting for any of the federal funding yet.
none of
this
that.
week, right?
I've kind of ignored that because, we can do a budget amendment, bring that in and cut that, we can do whatever we need with that.
Right,
So,
but just informally,
right.
it's probably good.
Yeah, that could be
Just
an
one.
influx of money we can use to wipe out a truck payment, our truck purchase.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as soon as we find
I
out.
want to just pretend that's not here right now, but we are going to spend it. Don't worry. I'm not going to let that happen. We're going to spend
Appropriately.
it. Yeah.
So that we don't get
For now, let's just
dinged on
forget
it.
about that.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, is as soon as we find something that we can spend it on and know that we're not gonna have to pull it back, let's do that.
Yeah, absolutely, before they figure out a way to take it back.
Yeah.
So the only thing we really have to do is talk about now, I think we should talk about the comprehensive plan, because that potentially could be something else. we
One
can-
thing I just thought of is that we didn't put any extra money in there for recording of meetings.
Video and the web was the other one, yeah.
And,
We wanna do something.
and right.
So let's back up and do that, and then we'll figure out, because right now we're talking about, when I say $62,000, that's nothing, because that could be the amount we don't spend even, so we may not take anything out of fund balance, to tell you the
Right.
truth. And if revenues come in as high as I think they're gonna be, we probably won't touch it. So we're in pretty good shape, believe it or not, even though it sounds like not so
What
good.
is, can you tell me our overall fund balance?
Our overall fund balance right now in highway is roughly 200 and, oh, wait. I wanted to print this out, but I couldn't get the print before I left. Yeah, 223,000 roughly. And general is up to just over 400,000. And we have 50,000 in Con Ed still, which we haven't spent. And our highway reserve, which I already said we had 235,000 in. And that's it.
I thought we talked at one point, maybe we didn't do it, of taking money out of Con Ed for something.
We actually, we're gonna take that out of for the brownfield.
Testing, okay.
Because we didn't have that budget last year.
Right.
But we got money out of the working budget because we had unexpected
Okay,
funds, so we
okay.
didn't have to take it out of Con Ed.
Okay.
So we preserved that.
Is that for any particular purpose or?
Con Ed is basically for recreation, it's infrastructure or recreational, is what we're supposed to. I mean, there's really no policing on that at this point. Every other town that had that money has spent it long gone. We've kind of preserved it. I was here when I got here. We've kind of preserved it. For what reason, I don't know. But if we have something that comes up,
Spent some over
we spent a
the years.
little bit. It was
Yeah.
69,000 something when I got here.
Yeah.
But if we have something that comes up, infrastructure, emergency, or something, we can use it immediately. You know, that's fine. Recreation, it is for recreation. I mean, it could be used for parks.
Yeah, could use it as a matching.
Right, exactly.
So, you know, if we have somebody that's willing to match a grant, that'd be a great thing to say, hey, we do have an extra 50 grand, we can throw it towards it right away.
Well, like the New York State
A lot of that's
grants require matching.
right,
so it could be very
20%.
helpful there.
So, yeah, so I mean, so it is there. It's kind of a, you know, it's like a bonus, you know. So yeah, that's a good thing. But back to recording, yes, we didn't talk about that. We are actually, we need to put money in the budget for that, which is going to throw all the numbers up again because I'm just
you
go back
said
to
what,
edit.
like $150 a month?
Yeah, it's about $1,800. You want
A
to,
year.
yeah, if you
So,
want to put 1,800 or
where were we going to put that under? That would
Good
have to be
question.
under, maybe under town board? No, maybe buildings probably.
yeah, that might be.
I think buildings would be the place to take that out of. That'd be nice to add a separate line item for that.
It could also be contractual.
Right.
Why don't we, for now, I have a line in the budget already, it should be on yours that's empty, it says contractual expense project.
What's
There's nothing
number?
saying, the number is 1620.4G. I mean,
I don't have a 4G.
you don't have that one in there?
I have a 4. Oh no,
Yes, you
yep,
do.
yes.
It's
yes.
a 0 right now. If we put it in
Correct.
there, we could at least keep it separated.
Okay,
And it says project, so this could be our video project. What do we call that?
we'll call it
But
1,800.
why don't we put a little extra in just in case it, you know, if we have to upgrade to the second
right, we're gonna
tier
have
or
to
something,
buy
why don't we put like $3,000
right.
in, maybe be safe,
Okay,
you know? I
Well, that's a
again, it's a
different-
number that's not gonna be spent unless we, you know, we
right.
need to.
So you want to put
I
3 in
think we
there?
should put 3 in just to be safe, because we definitely want to get that squared away and get that going. That's not a lot.
And then do we want to budget something for the web?
And that's the next question. So 3,000 in that line. Where do we want to put that? And how do we do that? I have to find out for sure. Everything tells me that we can't pay you separately. I don't know why. But again,
Even if it's
put it
us
under your wife. I don't
paying
care.
Ellen to take on stuff that you don't want to do. I mean, it would reduce some of your
Right,
Well,
right.
like the calendar updates, doing that, I don't know, whatever. If
Yep.
it's helpful, maybe it's
I think
not something you wanna have somebody else do.
Again. I wonder if that'd be under, we don't have a line for web or anything.
Communications?
Central Communications? I think that's where we used to pay Fred out of, I believe.
Well, we also have that other item I talked about, $40 a year. That'll be a yearly fee, but I'm just
We'll put
thinking
that
that
in buildings.
I know it's not much, but we should probably identify a line item to put it.
Perhaps there is something you can do, so I get my salary plus the 300 for the registrar.
I'll have to look. Maybe we can. I don't know why I always thought you couldn't, but maybe you can.
Do we appoint Chris as the webmaster? I can't remember if we actually do.
I think in the organizational meeting. Yeah, we name you as a historian. We name you
Right,
as a
right.
webmaster.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we do.
Well,
Is
either
that what other
way,
towns are doing to manage their, I mean, if it's what we need to do, it's fine, but I'm just saying. I'm
Yeah,
wondering what
yeah.
they-
I bet you other
what
towns are paying a fee.
how much do we
Or
want?
they're just paying us
How much do we want to
professional
know? Because I think what we'll do is
Probably.
add it to central communications under point 4. It'll be contractual. One way or the other, we can actually bill it to them, get a voucher and pay it out of there. So I'll figure out if we can pay it to him. If not, we pay it to somebody else. But at least we put
Uh-huh.
money in that line item, so we have it. How much money do you think we should put in there?
I was thinking at least like $2,500.
Oh, Jesus!
Is that too much? I don't know.
I don't know how
Chris,
much.
yeah.
I don't know how much
Well,
time.
then,
I like you.
I appreciate it all, but
I don't know how much time it takes.
I mean, that could be one person as webmaster and another person who's doing, you know, I
Yeah,
also
it
feel a
could be
little badly
multiple
for
people.
Ellen, who's just, I mean, she's just
Yeah.
volunteering to do it, but it would probably be a little more, I don't know, seems
Yeah,
like a more appropriate relationship if we were like paying her to, because she has access to the website. She
Right,
should
right.
fall under like the town, you know.
I think you could
standards.
kind of split it into two separate things. There's the routine monthly things that have to be done, and then there's like the calendar on the website. I mean,
Right.
I don't know how much time that would take, but that would be something that would be great to have Ellen's support on.
Right. A
So
project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, our budget's blown the hell out of me.
Well, if we don't spend it, then
If we don't spend it, it stays
Right,
there. That's
right.
fine. So, how about 2,000? Want to add 2,000? That's a round number. I like that number.
I just think something.
All right. So that takes it from 4,600 to 6,600. We're just
And this
gonna
could
add
even be
central
like, the
communications.
site gets hacked and we need, you know, we should budget something for the
thanks, Lindsay.
And you're like,
Let me
we
just
need
throw more out.
10,000.
No, actually, I'm thinking of it's actually a small expense, but I'm thinking of an antivirus for subscription for all the laptops for the town.
One.
Clerk, Sam,
right.
Joan.
I don't know
All
if
of the
the
laptops
town
should
would
have a
qualify.
subscription.
I just bought for the church. We qualified as a nonprofit. That I got Office 2019 for $52, or I just did a license for Norton for 5. Maybe it was 6 to 10 licenses for $52 or something like that the first year, and then the second year is only like $125 for that number of licenses.
Okay.
So I don't know. You have to go through and qualify for TechSoup. I don't know if a municipality does, but you know, like back in December, I got the same Office for $39.
Okay.
It's a little difficult. I don't know. The people that I had working on it to download it and put it on people's computers, it was a little tricky. I don't know why. But
Probably a volume license, so
Yes,
they
yeah.
control the licenses, and
Yes.
they're very careful about who gets it.
right, but it's cheap. It's. I mean, they say it's a $600 and something value. I don't know if you would pay that in the store.
Well, anything like that, any antivirus, anything like that we need, we'll just buy it and put it under buildings. We could do
Yeah,
that.
we could do that.
That's
I mean, we could buy like a
Voucher.
10 license package and I think it's maybe $100.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cheap, but it's something that should be brought up
Yeah.
at the right now
Everybody
because
should
we
have
should
it. Yep.
we should
You're
have
right.
it.
All right. I think that's fine. We can put that under there. That's fine.
Yeah. I don't even. It's like there's $40. I don't know if they're very small items, but
They
something
all
like,
add up. So we buy them and put them everywhere.
Yeah.
It's all fine on the buildings. We have plenty of money in buildings. That's what we use it for. That's fine. We'll get whatever we need.
Okay.
All right. So that's that. We have money in there for the videos. We have money in for central communications for web help, and we have money for what was it? What was the toy just added, right? Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Comprehensive plan. We want to discuss this. We want to talk about that a little bit. Because if we're going to do something like that, we really need to create a separate capital reserve account, and that way we just the same with the highway reserve.
We have a comprehensive plan. What are we planning on doing?
Well, it needs to be updated.
Updated. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
since 1976, I want to say, and updated in the early 2000s.
Oh, okay. I was going to say it was updated before I got here. They did the BHAN report. They called it.
Yes.
Yeah, that was done in the early
That wasn't
2000s.
a comprehensive plan.
Well, that
BHAN.
was the update to it, wasn't it? The BHAN
No, the BHAN was separate.
was it?
Yeah, that was part of the comprehensive plan.
Well, Mary scared the crap out of me when she told me it was going to be like over $100,000. To me, that's a lot of money. I don't know.
You're supposed to look at it every so many years, and we've done that. We just looked at it and said it's okay. And I don't see that there's a whole lot of.
I mean, there's stuff that needs to be updated and integrated, I'm sure, but I don't know to what extent. I really is not my forte.
Right.
It might be helpful to have someone
Give us
just
a proposal.
give us a proposal, or just to think about all the. I mean, with like climate change and with the development pressures we're having here. I mean, Chris has brought up the pressures on agriculture and land use. I think it seems very appropriate if this is a expense we have to have every once every how many decades. I don't
Right,
know.
right.
Biggest expense for the comprehensive plan when they did it back years ago, just before before you and I got on the board, because they hired a planner from the state,
Yeah.
and they had to pay for that.
Well,
I think we could benefit from an outside person to come and be a facilitator.
Absolutely.
Because we only know what we know. We don't know what we don't know. But I'm sure we could find somebody to come and give us a proposal and give us an idea of what.
To start to think about it.
Maybe,
Right.
Maybe Mary could give us more detail on how
Right.
she came up with an estimate as well.
And did you say, Dawn, that the combined funding application does have? You
I
can
think there is
apply
money out
for
there.
comprehensive
If we
plan.
could get somebody who could help us with that application so that we have a really good application that we could get the grant money, that would benefit
Yeah.
us as well.
I agree.
So we could request proposals, see how much it might be. Everyone can maybe feel more comfortable with what would be part of that. And
Right. I don't know if we put $30,000 in there.
At this point, it's just picking a number we're going to take out of reserves because it's we're at the point where we're basically taking it out of the bank.
Right.
So, if we take it out of the bank and put it in reserve, or we just leave it in there until we're ready to do it. But I think we need to create a reserve and start tucking some money in there so it's there.
I think it's a smart plan.
So,
Mhm.
not
Well,
whatever that
and
number
this-
is, we agree.
Right, and the state would be happy with us doing that too because we have so much that's unappropriated.
Probably. They like to see it in reserve funds. So, and if we know we're going to do that, at some point we have to do it. So,
Yeah.
if we tuck whatever number, I mean,
Doesn't it
Very-
need to happen next year though, or because the census coming out? Like,
I don't know if it has to happen next year.
I
No.
don't know enough about it that we would have all, the complete set of census data when we would receive that. I know Claremont is one of the few towns in the county that had an increase in census. We went up like 4.5%.
4.7%.
So that whenever
One of 4 towns.
whenever we do the sales tax, hopefully we would get a little bit more.
When the county adopts that new census, which will be first quarter next year, that means our sales tax revenue will be going up because everybody else dropped and only 4 towns went up. So if we receive 4.7%, it would be about 20 grand extra a year on what we
Wow.
received this past year.
That's a lot.
there we go.
So
Yeah.
if it all stays the same.
Mhm.
But, Greenport went up the most. New Lebanon went up a little bit more than us, so we went 4.7%, and Clover went up like 0.5%. Everybody else dropped in population.
Do we know the actual population?
61,000 and something.
We're
Really?
still less than 2,100, like 2,065 or something like that.
2,065?
Right, I know the 2,000, I believe we were 1965.
I knew we were right around 2,000.
Yeah,
I
we
just
went
wasn't sure with this 4%,
Yeah,
how
we,
accurate that
we
was.
went up
and-
like 80 or 90 people.
Yeah.
So we're around 21, you think?
A little bit less than 2,100.
All right, so what numbers are everybody comfortable with? Because under the general appropriations, we have capital projects. I think we'll just tuck it in there for now, and I'll actually label it a reserve, reserve account, but I'll put it in there for now. We'll just label it comprehensive plan reserve, and then we'll just every year we can tuck some money in. I don't think we have to do it next year though. No. But
I think it'll take us
it's going to take
a
a few
while
years to
just
build
to-
some money up, especially
well,
if it's expensive.
and
Well,
to kind
we
of
should-
figure out what we
I don't
want
see
to
us
do.
spending
Wait.
that much money on a comprehensive plan.
What's
I
that?
really don't see us spending that much money on a comprehensive.
I hope we don't spend $100,000 because that's a lot of money for a little town. I'm sure it'll be 40 or 50 grand easy, but
Well, when people look, I don't know. In talking to people, they feel like it's
It needs to be
outdated. It needs to be outdated. Claremont
Right.
was a very different place when it was originally
Right.
done, and given all of the changes in our world, we need to update it to
Right.
make sure that the town is looking forward and really, has the most recent information going into it. So I don't know.
Well,
I
it
don't
would-
know if that's all that's included, but I've certainly heard people talk about like the fact that they feel like we're not prepared.
Yeah.
We don't look prepared.
Well, there's the comprehensive plan, and that one, after that, you would update zoning.
Mhm.
So that would be another expense. So I don't know if Mary's including those two pieces together, update of the comprehensive plan and then
Do
update of zoning.
following year or
worst
something.
case scenario, we may be able, the money we receive may be eligible for the comprehensive plan. We may be able to steal a little of that for that if we need to. We have the Con Ed money if we needed to. So if we had to do it next year, we do have the money if we have to do it. I just, have a hard time jumping right into it right there.
Yeah, I kind of lean towards what Dawn was saying is we don't know what we don't know.
Right.
So
We definitely
how
need to
do
get some
we,
information on it.
yeah.
So
I think Mary can help give us some, give us some
I
good
think so
planning.
as well. I think she'd be very
Points.
helpful in maybe helping us understand why or how she came up with those numbers.
I would-
And maybe there's something she's including that we're not looking at, or that we, like you were talking about the zoning and maybe she's got all of that included. I don't really know.
But maybe we should do a RFA or however we initiate that, just to get a sense of who's out there, what would be
Mhm.
included, just in preparation.
We
for-
have to-
not to say that we need to put all the money forward now, but to get a sense of what's going to be required.
Just get us,
And I do
I-
think we should not sit on this. I think it's something people are interested to see happen.
I agree.
well, I think
I'm-
Germantown, I think has redone theirs in the last several years. I don't know who was involved in that, if we could find out, what they
Yeah.
I
did.
would say, whether it be Ankrum, I don't know if it was Ankrum, but I want to say that one of the towns further east may have recently done something with a comprehensive plan. It may not have been as recent, more recent than us.
Well, I
don't
know
know how
Chatham
recent.
is doing something, but that's gotten really kind of nasty.
all right.
Maybe
How
it was
about
Copac, I don't know.
how about 25,000? Is that a good start?
Yeah, I really don't know, but I think we all agree that something should be started.
I think it's good. I mean, we're making a commitment
least
to
it's
doing
something to
it.
start.
We'll get more information. Maybe we'll decide to do it sooner than
If
later.
things go
and
good, we
have
get a
to
lot more
spend
revenue. We could always
yeah.
tuck more money away. It's a reserve account, so we could always, we can distribute as
Right,
needed.
right. This is not a to put money in a reserve account. It's not a one time a year event. We could do it at any
We
time.
could. We can do it anytime. Absolutely. If we, again, if we needed to, like you said, if we found out we had to do this next year, we could always take some money from other things. So we have it, luckily, which is nice. All right, so we really blew this budget to hell.
Yeah, we do.
Just so you know. Just want you to know. So now we're up to 92,500 coming out of reserves, out of fund balance. So
But, I mean, some of that's just moving it into another bucket. We're
It
we're
is.
not at a loss
it is.
because of that, moving that.
I mean, it's money we're committing to spend, but right.
Where was that, Ray? 90?
It's going to be $92,499, as a matter of fact. So out of, I got to split it up because we have to take some out of highway and some out of general. 47,859 out of general to be exact. So general revenue 47,859. 47,859. Fund balance. Why is that coming out of the fund balance line? It's not working. Okay, let's do this a different way. 47,859.
Not too bad.
Yeah, it is.
Less than 3 hours.
Well, not done yet.
But we're close enough. We were here till 11 o'clock one night, one year.
Yeah.
And then we had to come back again.
Why is this
Yeah.
not working?
It was a 2-night.
We stayed overnight at the campground, so I was home. My daughter comes in at 12:37. The coyotes are close by and I can't get the cat in. So I went outside and I got the cat in. That said cat at 1:30 a.m. decided wanted attention. She was ready to
go
go
out.
back out to the coyotes. 3:30.
Did we have
quickly.
thunder and lightning
It's
last
not
night?
working. Why is it not working?
I didn't hear it.
I didn't.
I guess in Koksaki they had really bad storms. And then the night, I don't recall which
We
night it was
don't
last
want to
week
go
that we
for a
had all
meeting
that
in
rain.
Batesville.
They had thunder and lightning
Sure.
over there as well.
Yeah.
And I didn't think we had any.
I think we got rain last night, but I don't remember any.
That was
No, I didn't
early
hear
this
anything.
morning. That was about 5 o'clock this morning. We got the rain.
Oh, we had wind. State police called me at 2:30.
Oh.
We had over on Jug Road, a tree come down over there.
Oh.
Well, when I went out, I left to go down there and the wind wasn't even blowing. I said, okay, well, I don't know if because the ground was saturated, but
Yeah.
snapped right off on the roads.
We've had some problem at work that I don't quite understand what's happening. Something's happening with the phone system. And the first 3 times it happened, it was raining, that it's creating an open line, which notifies 911. So we have had, the first 3 times it was on rainy days. And then the 4th and 5th time, it was last Wednesday on a nice sunny day. So we've had the Koksaki police come once, the troopers twice, and the sheriff's deputies come twice. So far, they're not annoyed with us. And we had
That's a
new,
good thing.
911 can be hey, my daughter had a problem with that. She wasn't even at the house, and the police came and broke her door down. Because 911 said that she called. She didn't call. She wasn't even there.
they've come and, they've taken our names and, kind of looked around to make sure that no one's being held hostage or anything like that. But, so we had a new phone system put in on Fridays that I'm hoping solve the problem, but
I don't know
since
why
we
it's
don't
not
really know what the problem
Like
was.
it-
In the meantime, while Ray's working on that, I move we open our regular meeting to pay the bills.
So moved.
Second.
Second. Okay.
All
Sorry,
in
Bob.
favor? Aye.
All right.
All right.
Oh, yeah, I was right.
Move that
I
we pay
support it.
general abstract number 9B with vouchers number 237 to 243 in the amount of $388.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
I make a motion, we pay Highway Abstract 9B, vouchers number 83 through 88 in the amount of $8,711.73.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Highway spent a lot more money than the general
Yeah,
did.
well, it was that
That
one
was that
bill.
mower.
Yeah.
Okay, one other thing I wanted to do is just clarify last meeting, we brought up about that self-insured mutual insurance program through the county. We had questions about it. I was confused and I got clarification. I thought it had something to do with the LoSAP program, which is the retirement program. I got that confused with this, which is the compensation program. There is no charge to the town for this. What it is, it provides a compensation coverage for firemen. We actually the town has a compensation plan through the county, which we do pay our portion if needed for the highway guys. So obviously we pay into the compensation plan. But the firemen are also covered if we join this program under that same plan. There's no additional cost, and the way it was explained to me by the PJ Keeler was if there's a claim by a fireman, say it's whatever, $500,000, whatever the claim would be, what they do is they put it through our town compensation plan. But what they do is they deduct that from our overall plan for the town, so there's no additional cost. So we actually pay whatever it is, $10,000 a year. They take it out of what it would be covered for the town, so there's no additional charge. So it's subtracted out and covered for the firemen. So by opting into it, it allows them to do this. There's no, so the firemen are covered, but there's no additional charge to the firemen or
Covered for
us.
what?
For compensation. If somebody gets hurt and they have to go on a comp.
Okay.
So it's covered under our actual plan through the town, through the county. So that's what this is about, and that's what they said every town joins into it because it doesn't cost anything. Again, if there is a claim, they take it out of your overall policy, but there's no additional charge for it.
Yeah.
So how do we pay the county our portion?
That's charged back to the county.
Okay.
As far as a charge back.
So that's
each
why
year.
the fire department needs the town board's approval to do that.
Because it goes to the town's comp if needed, but it's also credited back. It's all through the town.
Okay.
That's why I was involved with this.
Okay.
So that's why we have to bless it, yeah.
Okay.
So, that being said, with no additional charge to the town, I'll point that out, I would like to offer this resolution for us to adopt, to join the municipal group self-insurance program through the county.
With that understanding, so moved.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you.
And that's resolution 46, 2021.
That piece right there. Okay, any other business for the board?
Make a motion, we adjourn the regular board meeting.
Okay. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Back to this budget. I cannot get it for some reason to take in the line that I'm supposed to, but I have the right amounts in there. I just have to get it together with the bookkeeper to find out why it's not working. But this is the accurate overall total. So our total appropriations on this budget is, I think it's the highest one I've ever had, $977,879. Less the estimated revenues, $828,659. So total amount raised by taxes is $104,580, which is exactly the same amount we raise every year. There will be no tax increase to taxpayers. Total amount coming out of reserves will be the 499.
92,499.
It doesn't read that correctly right here, right now, but that's exactly what it will be, 42,999. Or 42,499.
So without that reserves, we would have had a tax increase.
If we didn't have a reserve balance, yes.
Yeah. That's why I figure how you came out with the exact same number after I added all these numbers up, but that's,
I'm taking 44,640 out of the highway reserve account and the balance out of the general reserve account. So,
What does that leave our general?
we'll get 370,000 or something like
Okay.
that, roughly.
we had 400,000 plus.
And the highway will
The
be,
general and
they
highway was
have
222.
44,000, they have 190,000 roughly left, something like that.
Okay.
Well, I'll have these exact numbers after I get this thing on the calculator right, but that is gonna be correct
Okay.
as far as the spending, the amount we're taking from taxpayers, and our tax rate actually went up a hair because our taxable value went down on the town. So it went from 42.49 cents to 43.20 cents. We're up a penny
Yeah.
per thousand. So
Raising taxes.
I was gonna say,
Well,
every
tax
house that
rate went
sells
up,
at this
taxes aren't
point
going
is-
to
Yes.
raise.
With all the new properties in town, we just,
Hard to believe, isn't it? Well, remember our equalization rate dropped.
Yeah, that's
So
what
what
I
do
was
we
thinking.
add
It's gonna
down to?
continue to drop if,
What are we at now?
Was it
92,
92%? I think 92%.
I think with the more sales, it's gonna probably continue to drop because the way the sales have been.
Well, yeah. I mean, I told her, I says, you need to do something to get us back up because we got to get back to 100%. I says,
So none of us want to see our taxes go up, but
no, but it doesn't necessarily mean your tax will go up. You're actually paying more tax by us having a lower
yeah,
value because Red Hook is assessed at 100%, I believe. Didn't she say they were at 100%? If they're at 100%, we're at 92. You actually pick up a bigger part of the school tax bill on Red
Right.
Hook. A little bit.
yeah.
So that's something we need to correct because remember we got that. Well, the first couple of years we were in here, we got screamed at because all the people over on Trout Creek Road, we were down in the 80s, I think, or something percent, and Red Hook was 100. So their sales tax or their school tax was way higher than the people who lived in Red Hook.
Oh, what was her name?
I remember a couple of them.
Was
Oh, I
it Trout
can't-
Creek or was
Trout
it?
Creek Road had a couple guys
Yeah.
that were really mad at us.
What's the woman that goes to St. Christopher's that she used to do the RCIA or something?
So,
Lives over there.
so I told her we need to get that back
And
up.
he said
And, you know,
80.
it doesn't mean your taxes are going up. It just means it gets
Oh,
values
yeah.
up.
I can see
Yeah,
her face.
I
and can't
just-
think what her name
I
is.
just feel like our taxes are going.
Well, they probably are.
Yeah,
but-
maybe.
This won't cause that. You know,
Yeah.
it may make it a little fairer for you, but all right. So there you go. We got our budget done. One night, told you, 9:00.
Long night.
So I'll get this couple little things, quirks worked out, fixed up, and what I can do is maybe send a draft around to everybody so you can actually look at it on here, so you can see the numbers a little easier.
Yeah.
And then, and then we can adopt that as our tentative budget next meeting.
Thank you for coming.
Oh, man. Any,
Yeah, absolutely.
You have it?
I was gonna grab him before he goes when you guys are all
Go ahead. We're done. We're done.
Motion to adjourn
Adjourn
our
our budget
workshop, budget meeting.
Second.
Sure. All in favor?
Aye.
Bye.
Opposed? Carried.